Chapter 545. The return of the Zhang family had stirred the hearts of many people. The officials and runners of Sanshui County's Yamen were trying to find ways to visit, and so were the commoners. However, the new year was approaching, and the officials could not spare any time. They still had to deliver gifts to the poorest families in Sanshui County. The poor families were not locals of Sanshui County. They were people who had moved to Sanshui County from other places. When Zhang Zhong returned this time, in addition to bringing back the local specialties, he also brought back 3 ships worth of dried fish. Dried fish from the sea, the kind that was very big. As long as the people of Sanshui County had one, they would have no problem eating it for 3 to 5 days. However, on the surface, it was said that he was following the orders of the imperial court. In truth, everyone knew that the imperial court would not let Zhang Zhong bring fish back to the commoners. A sea fish was not expensive. Even though this place was a little far from the sea, one could buy a big sea fish with 100 copper coins. The commoners mainly felt Zhang Zhong's goodwill. Bringing anything back from Luzhou would be more profitable than bringing fish back. However, Zhang Zhong still packed the fish and delivered them to each family. The commoners knew what was going on, but they did not say it out loud. They were afraid of bringing trouble to the Zhang family and the Wang family. They knew that Sanshui County was the world of the Zhang family and the Wang family. If Zhang Zhong wanted to rebel, there would be no problem at all. Zhang Zhong also knew that his every move in Sanshui County was being watched. After all, Sanshui County was too important. It had a specialized craftsman academy, controlled a river, and increased grain production. Coupled with the annual tax income, it would be a lie to say that it was not tempting. The problem was that Sanshui County could not arrange its own people. To be an official in Sanshui County, one had to be approved by the commoners. The commoners did not know the new official yet. They had to do something good for the commoners first. Apart from this path, the other path was naturally Zhang Zhong's idea. Even if the commoners had already chosen their officials, Zhang Zhong could waive them with just a word. Otherwise, they would not be able to collect so much tax. Among them were people sent by Li Longji. Li Longji was also afraid. The Zhang family was too powerful. If they wanted to rebel, the people who were sent to quell the rebellion would have to fight in Yaozhou first. Only after winning could they enter Sanshui County and continue the fight. Fortunately, the Zhang family always knew when to advance and when to retreat. They would never do anything that they shouldn't do. Many secrets were written and sent to the higher-ups. Otherwise, they would have been dealt with long ago. As a matter of fact, as soon as the big fish was given out, a few officials from the imperial court used pigeons to spread the news, saying that they also wanted to try the taste of the sea fish and were prepared to pay for one. One of them was the person in charge of the imperial kitchen. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan read the letter, they understood that the people were not asking for the sea fish. They were expressing that they already knew about the Zhang family giving out the fish. It's not easy to give out something. Just give it to them. Since they want to eat it, they have no choice but to give it to them. Find a few sheep's hearts and put them in the fish's stomach. Remember to open the fish first and stuff them in through the mouth. Send them to the imperial kitchen and say that the combination of fish and sheep will taste better. Zhang Xiaobao was very familiar with this kind of thing. Since Li Longji had sent people to ask about the fish, he should give them an answer. Zhang Zhong did not understand the meaning of this and specially came over to ask. Xiaobao, are we just going to put the sheep's hearts into the fish's stomach? Can they still be eaten? Eat. Father, they won't eat it. They will just look at it. They know that the Zhang family and Wang family are loyal and will not make things difficult for us. Zhang Xiaobao explained to his father. Then why do we have to let the sheep's heart go? Isn't chicken heart better? Maybe the fish can be eaten. Zhang Zhong felt that this was also a kind of knowledge. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head, chicken won't do. Sheep and fish together are not only fresh, but also nurturing. First of all, they are the people of Tang dynasty. If Li Longji is willing to play games, then play with him. Oh, it's the emperor. Zhang Zhong understood now. It turned out that giving things was also a kind of knowledge. It seemed that he had to learn more in the future and ask his son often. It was not ordinary. After knowing about the gift, Zhang Zhong asked again, Xiao Bao, where do you think I should go next time? It's not good to enter the capital too early. Father, you don't have to worry about this matter. There are people who are more attentive than us. Li Sun will definitely think of a way. Prince Shi Ning is also the same. Since you are free now, Father, you should enjoy it for 2 more days. I reckon that the next place you go will be busy. It's either a very poor place or a very rich place. It's fine if it's poor. We will take out our own money to help the people and then we can earn a lot. I'm afraid that we will go to a rich place, such as Hunan. If you really want to go there, Father, you should not go. You'd rather go back to the capital. The water there is too deep. I reckon that going back and forth will tire you to death. Zhang Xiaobao actually wanted his father to come to Yaozhou. It was very easy to manage here. With a government order, the people would obey. But this was absolutely impossible. Sanshui County was already worrying. How could they give more chances to the Zhang family? Zhang Zhong rubbed his son's head and left without saying a word. He felt a little uncomfortable. When encountering something, he could not make a better judgment and had to ask his son. He did not feel that his son was better than him. No matter how smart his son was, he was still a son. He knew how to be filial to his parents and know how to share the family's responsibilities. What made him uncomfortable was that he always made his son worry. His son was still young. Even if he was a deity, it was still tiring. He had to make his son and daughter-in-law busy with things that they should not worry about. If he could understand more, his son and daughter-in-law would be more relaxed. Learn, he must learn. In the future, he would let his son and daughter-in-law do less tiring work. Zhang Zhong walked back to his courtyard. On the way, he thought about this. He also saw how powerful his son and daughter-in-law were. They were truly strategizing. In business, calculations, people's livelihood, and now the 4 children were also involved. While his son and daughter-in-law were dealing, they could also find time to train the guards and learn knowledge every day. Oh, right, there was also a diplomatic aspect. The 2 children were also in charge. Moreover, they had to come up with new things from time to time to make money and develop. All the burdens were placed on the children. Seeing that his father had left, Zhang Xiaobao took out a pen and paper and began to design something. This time, the things to be made were simple. It was a sledge and ice skates. After the design was done, the physical objects had to be made and then sent to the Ministry of Works and the Ministry of War. Although it was simple, it was not small. It could be used to transport goods and also allow people to move quickly on the ice. According to the service target of technology, the first target was naturally the military. Therefore, he had to let the imperial court know about this matter first. After the imperial court had researched and understood it, he could consider whether to apply it to people's livelihood. Chapter 546. It was almost the 30th day of the year. Even the poorest people in the family would try their best to get some good things for the coming year. The farmers of Zhuangzi, Zhang family, and Wang family were the happiest. Their main family was back, and they could keep watch at night. The people of Sanshui County were also happy. Each family had a big fish. No matter how expensive it was, it was given by the Zhang family and Wang family. The people of Luzhou were also happy. The new provincial governor did not make any trouble. He did everything according to the rules set by the previous provincial governor. He did not cross the line at all. The 30th day of the year could be said to be the busiest day of the year. Everyone was looking forward to the arrival of the new year. They were busy slaughtering pigs and chickens. However, not everyone was like that. The Ning family in Qin province was worried now. They had money for the new year, and they did not lack things. Moreover, they had made a lot of money recently. However, it was because of this money that they got into trouble. They did it on purpose. The Zhang family must have done it on purpose. They knew that we would follow them and make fake furniture and sell it to the rich and powerful. I want to impeach them. How could they set me up before they left? Ning Zhongzi did not have to do anything anymore. He was resting during the new year. He sat in his study. On the beautiful table, there were posts of questions. The content of the posts was basically the same. They asked him where the goods came from and why they were fake furniture. How much did they cost when they bought the goods? Did they know that the goods were fake? The steward stood beside him. He had also read the posts. At this moment, he did not have the heart to think about who would be responsible. He only sighed inwardly at the Zhang family's methods. In the past, the Zhang family also sold furniture. However, they never went through Qin province. They would just send people to find ways to deliver it to the buyers. This time, before they left, they actually sent people to deliver a lot of furniture from Qin province by land. Of course, they had to stop them. The furniture was beautifully made, and the paint on it was very charming. There were also design drawings, and the function of each part was written out. There were also extra documents stamped with the seal of Luzhou's Chamber of Commerce. If it were anyone else, they would be tempted. There were so many documents, why not forge them according to the drawings? In the end, the Ning family agreed. They chased away the people who were escorting the Zhang family and left everything behind. They also found a craftsman to make furniture according to the blueprints. Some of them were given away as gifts while some were sold to the rich and powerful. Luzhou's Chamber of Commerce's name was still there. It could be said that he had made a lot of money. He even made a fake seal according to the seal on the document. Who would have thought that the Zhang family would release news before they arrived in Beijing, saying that there would be a lot of fake furniture? They also told people where the fake furniture was and asked people to pay attention when they bought it. This time, the mark appeared on the certificate document. Every document was different, and there was a special pattern in a very inconspicuous place. If the furniture was turned over or the drawer was pulled open, the same mark could be found on the document. However, there were no marks on the Zhang family's furniture and documents. Wasn't this a scam? This was bad, too bad. This batch of furniture didn't seem to be for sale at all. It was specially prepared for the Ning family. The people who bought it were angry. Not only did they spend a lot of money, but when their friends saw it, they would be ridiculed. They would be too ashamed to go out. The people who were given the furniture were even angrier than the people who bought it. How could a family that could be given furniture be a simple family? Using fake things, those who knew would think that they were cheated. Those who didn't know would think that they were reluctant to spend money to buy the real thing and bought fake things at a cheap price to show off. Even if they knew that they were cheated, it would still be embarrassing. This showed that such good things weren't something that the cheated people could understand. With their status, it wasn't suitable for them to use such furniture. They lacked a foundation. It was too close to the new year, so they couldn't find time to come here in person. They could only ask someone to send an invitation. After the new year, it would be hard to say what would happen. Seeing the master hit the fake table hard, the housekeeper hesitated and said, "Master, why don't we return the money to them and buy a few sets of real furniture and send them to the people who gave them the furniture for free last time? We can't buy them in our name. Otherwise, we'll be cheated again. It's too late. It's fine as long as we compensate the people who bought the furniture. But will the people who gave them the furniture still want it? Won't they buy the real thing themselves? I hate Zhang Zhong. I'm going to impeach him for manufacturing fake goods." Ning Zhongze knew very well that this was a trap set by the Zhang family. He didn't blame his family's decision. If it were anyone else, they would fall into this trap. Although he said that he was going to impeach, he didn't have any intention of writing. The Zhang family didn't say that they were going to sell the furniture. They were just shipping it. When the time came, they could say that it wasn't good and that they wanted to destroy it or give it to the village. If he really reported this matter to the higher-ups, they would ask him why he blocked the goods and become a laughingstock. Besides, it wasn't up to him to impeach Zhang Zhong. It was up to the Ning family whether or not they wanted to impeach him. The Ning family was a family. Some of them were officials, while others were businessmen. If the Ning family was impeached for manufacturing fake goods and cheating people, it was very likely that he would be implicated as well. The housekeeper wasn't worried that he would be investigated. He lowered his head and looked at his feet until he felt that the master's anger had softened. He said, "Master, why don't we do this? If we continue to give them furniture, they might not want it anymore. Then we can give them some gifts. The Ning family has a lot of them. They won't be useful for the time being." "What do you mean they won't be useful?" "The hawksbill shell is useless, but the shell incense is a medicinal material. It's also a precious incense that is usually used. Not to mention that we haven't had any income for more than a year, we've been wasting money all this time. Now that the business outside is back, we still have to take things out. In less than 2 years, the Ning family will be finished." The more Ning Zhongse thought about it, the more his heart ached. Money, it's all money. Which one of them doesn't need money? Otherwise, don't keep up appearances and stay away from the big families. Otherwise, we'll end up like them. Let's do as you say. Lu Zhou, didn't a new provincial governor come? Find someone to discuss it with him and ask if he can get us some gifts at a cheaper price. We haven't heard from Chao Harue and the other 2 families for a long time. Do you know where they went? Since they're no longer judges, it's time to ask them to return the money. Ning Zhongze was 100% unwilling to give away the good things in his house. Suddenly, he thought of the 3 people who had written IOUs. They were no longer of any use. It was time to ask them to do something else. The housekeeper knew about this matter. He nodded and replied, "Master, I heard that the 3 families and Lu Shaoqing's family have gone to the newly discovered island. They need to help with the local affairs. Should we send someone to catch them? It's only right to return the money owed. Zhang Zhong is a despicable person. Do you know that? Even now, he still doesn't want to let them go. Life on the island must be tough. It's New Year now. Let's not talk about this. Go and arrange the gifts. How are the preparations for the New Year's goods?" Ning Zhongze really could not find a way to deal with Zhang Zhong. He could only take advantage of Zhang Zhong with his words and categorize him as a despicable person. "Don't worry, master. I've already arranged the New Year's goods at home. I'll go right away." The housekeeper did not have time to care about this despicable person. He replied and left in a hurry. What was the point of contacting the new provincial governor? Lu Zhou was already an iron plate. No one could touch him. Zhang Xiaobao, who had tricked the Ning family once, had long thrown the matter of scheming to the back of his mind. He did not care if they were not on the same level as him. He and Wang Wan were accompanying Old Man Chang and Old Man Pai to go fishing. The two old men also knew how to find a place. It was the most beautiful pavilion between the clouds and the water. They first sprinkled a large amount of rice flour into it. This was called making a nest. Then, they found the earthworms that the Zhang family specially raised. There was a stove next to it to boil water. There were tea bowls and melon seeds on the table. The two of them appeared to be very leisurely and did not care about anything. Old Man Chang did not care. He was alone, so he could go anywhere. However, Old Man Pai was wrong. He had a family. He did not care about himself. Instead, he told his family that they did not have to work and that they would go to Zhuangzi to eat and drink together on the 30th. What the hell was this? Xiao Bao, why do you think we haven't caught any fish yet? Don't we have a lot of fish in the lake? Old Man Pai waited for a quarter of an hour. When he saw that no fish had taken the bait, he retracted the hook and looked at the drowning earthworms that were about to die from the cold. He asked Zhang Xiaobao. How could Zhang Xiaobao not know the reason for his own family's fish? Nowadays, the fish did not eat the bait that was casually thrown outside. There was fish food specially prepared for tourists. A bag of fish food cost 5 copper coins. Usually, they were not fed. If tourists wanted to see the fish, they would buy it and throw it into the lake. Moreover, the weather was cold now. The two old men were fishing in a shady place. The current was also relatively strong. If they wanted to catch fish, they would have to change the direction. Zhang Xiaobao knew. Just as he was about to say it, he suddenly realized that something was wrong. He should not have gone to the pavilion with Cuckoo to play today. The old man had something else to do. He was probably looking for an excuse. Just like last time, when one fish was full, the other fish were still hungry. In the end, he had to think of a way to help the people of Sanshui County find something to do so that more fish could eat their fill. He glanced at Wang Wan, and Wang Wan turned her head away in a very disloyal manner, implying that she should be the one to bear the brunt. After thinking for a while, Zhang Xiaobao said, Grandpa Bai, is it because it's too cold? The fish don't like to come out. Why don't you change to a place where the sun can shine? Zhang Xiaobao felt that this answer did not seem to connect to anything else. If there was a connection, it would be the cotton clothes. He was already working hard to plant cotton flowers. He thought that Old Man Pai would not use this as a breakthrough. Unfortunately, Old Man Pai was not Ning Zhongze. He was a third-rank official and had held many important positions. He was qualified to compete with Zhang Xiaobao, and he took the initiative to attack. As expected, Old Man Pai looked at Zhang Xiaobao with admiration. He understood that Zhang Xiaobao wanted to change the topic with a few words, but that was not possible. Xiaobao is right. Xiaobao, I find that you are getting smarter. When it's cold, the fish don't like to move. It's the same for people, right? Is that so? Zhang Xiaobao realized that things were a little out of his control. He continued, I'm very stupid. It's all thanks to Grandpa Bai and Grandpa Zhang's good teaching. Why not? When winter comes, the people in the north usually don't do anything, just like the fish. But fish don't know how to wear clothes, but people know how to wear more clothes. I think you know this, Xiaobao. Old Man Pai continued. Chapter 547. Old Man Pai was not in a hurry at all. He sat there calmly and watched Zhang Xiaobao work. He took a sip of tea and pinched a melon seed. Wei Wei used some strength in his hand, and the melon seed opened. It looked very ordinary, but there was a lot of work involved. Because it was not a melon that specialized in making melon seeds, there were usually not many big ones in a single watermelon. After that, it had to be washed. After washing, it was cooked with different seasonings according to taste. After that, it would be dried in the sun. Then, it would be picked out based on color. After that, it would be soaked in water with other seasonings. After it was done, it would be brought over. Those that did not have any cracks were also left out. Anyway, it was just a hassle. It sounded very valuable. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan usually did not eat it. The two of them would eat the kind that was cooked for the first time. Sometimes, they could even eat the bitter ones. For the two of them, that was real life. Not bad. After eating two, Old Man Pai was satisfied. But this kind of good stuff is not something that ordinary people can enjoy. Not to mention the melon seeds that are worth more than gold, even normal days are not easy. There are people to feed the fish, but who cares about the ordinary people? Xiao Bao, didn't you say that the fish will not eat the bait when it is cold? Look at the food you made. Why do the fish rush over to eat it when you throw it in? That is because the ingredients are good. Different fish like to eat ingredients that are not moved. Zhang Xiaobao saw that Old Man Pai was not going to give up, so he could only follow suit. He wanted to see what Old Man Pai was going to do. Yes, for the fish, the ingredients are different, but for the people, it is different. Especially in the north, where there is a continuous grassland. When it snows heavily, the road cannot be walked. The cows and sheep also freeze to death. There is nothing to earn money, so they all stay in their tents and do not come out. If there is no north, where would we get so many cows and sheep? Xiao Bao, what do you think we should do? Old Man Pai finally understood what he meant. Zhang Xiaobao thought carefully, then pointed to the north and asked, Grandpa Bai, are you talking about Yinzhou? Further north. Fengzhou. Zhang Xiaobao asked again. That was Inner Mongolia and Mongolia. On the map, below that was Shaanxi, Gansu, and Ningxia, including his own place. Yeah, that's right. The people there have it tough, Old Man Pai said sadly. Zhang Xiaobao was stunned. Wang Wan was also puzzled. She asked, Grandpa Bai, you're not thinking of sending someone there to be the provincial governor, are you? That won't do. Ordinary people can't stay in that place. If they're not used to the climate, it's easy for them to get into trouble. Besides, there aren't many people there. Why bother with them? Wang Wan knew that there were many products there, but it was too far away. Furthermore, the current population of the Tang dynasty had not reached the point where they could squander as they wished. There were many things that could not be used now, such as rare earths. Otherwise, why would the desert be accompanied by desolation? She was really worried that Old Man Pai would send Zhang Zhong there to be an official on a whim. It was not that she was afraid, but it was mainly because he would not be able to achieve anything. There was no population. If he really wanted to go there, he might as well go to Xinjiang. At least he could get more wine. With the snow blocking the roads, there would be no contact for a long time. Old Man Pai narrowed his eyes and thought for a while. He looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and said, the imperial court is rich now. They also have the cement to build the city. In addition, they found a piece of land in Shanghai that belongs to the Tang dynasty. It's not good to always be thinking about land. Ah. Don't tell me they want to go to war. Ah. After building up Fengzhou and making it rich, they will lure the Turks to attack them and then find an excuse to send troops over. Even if they conquer it now, they won't be able to occupy it. Isn't it good to have more money to build up the country? Oh, I know. Grandpa Bai, did you see the new weapons and feel that it is easy to deal with cavalry? Zhang Xiaobao was not stupid. He guessed what he meant. He was not afraid of war, but it was not cost-effective to fight now. The transportation was not convenient, and after the war, they would not be able to occupy it. Moreover, there were other ethnic groups and countries on the Turks' side. The two continents were connected. If they fought because they were close to each other, they could fight all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. North America was only separated by a sea, so they could easily cross it. But would that work? It's not a war. It snowed heavily this year. Everyone was busy during the new year, so they did not feel it. In fact, there is a shortage of cattle and sheep. I think it is the same for the Turks. Every time it is at this time, they will come to steal things. The scale is not large, so they have not done much. Moreover, it is not easy for the Turks to find the people of Fengzhou. Everyone is running around. War is a means. It is enough as long as we know how to achieve the goal. If we can cross over, we can use food to exchange for some cattle and sheep to slow down the situation in the capital. Force is only a guarantee. There was no way in the past, but now. Old Man Pai explained. He did not finish his words, but Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew what he meant. He meant that the Zhang family had two experts in charge, and they had already made a lot of good things. They were not lacking in this. The next place my father will go must be decided before the spring plowing, and he will go to the same place as Li Sun. Zhang Xiaobao began to talk about the conditions. You have to think about this carefully. This has already happened 3 times. The top scorer of the imperial examination, the county magistrate of Huayuan County, and the provincial governor of Luzhou. I have been an official since I was 20 years old, and until now, I have never met anyone who is in a situation like yours. You go wherever you want to be an official. The Ministry of Personnel is just a decoration to your family. The 3 provinces and 6 ministries are now revolving around your family. All the impeachment memorials have been suppressed, and all the issues raised by your family have to be discussed together. Many people are not satisfied. If it wasn't for the business relationship, and if it wasn't for the fact that your family is always giving away benefits, then the consequences. There are no ifs. If there is a relationship, then there is a relationship. You take your time to think about it, Grandpa Bai. My family is not in a hurry. Zhang Xiaobao was not afraid of being scared at all. As long as his family did not rebel, they would not have any excuse to deal with them. After Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, he really did let Old Man Pai and Old Man Chang think about it. He and Wang Wan went home to get the blueprint of the snow sled. They had just designed it, and they were going to use it. One was for a single person, and the other was for a snow plow. Old Man Pai thought that Zhang Xiaobao had gone home to ask the expert, so he was not in a hurry. He changed his direction and threw the pole and to continue fishing. Half an hour later, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan returned. Xiaobao, Cuckoo, I thought about it just now. This is a little difficult, but it's not impossible. Old Man Pai was finally convinced. If the Zhang family had a way, then the imperial court would have to agree. Zhang Xiaobao took the blueprint out of his pocket and unfolded it for Old Man Pai and Old Man Chang to see. That's it. There's a kind of deer in the north that can pull this cart and run quickly on the snow. You can tell from the ink. This map isn't new today, and it's not used to transport goods. It's used to transport troops at key places in the future when there's a war. The structure is simple, and people can understand it when they see it. They can learn it immediately. It's not my family's business whether it's used in the north or the northeast. If the wind is good, we can use sails to increase the speed. It's wide under the snow, and narrow under the ice. Old Man Pai did not know what to say. The Zhang family had such a good thing for a long time, but they were unwilling to take it out. Just like what he told Old Man Chang in Luzhou, the Zhang family would only make something new when it was needed. Old Man Chang sighed in his heart. The Zhang family was like 100 treasures pouch. There were many good things in it, and it was up to you to take them out. Old Man Pai held the paper in his hand and hesitated. Just like what Zhang Xiaobao said, when this thing was not made, people would not be able to think of it. However, when they saw it, they could make it immediately. Should they use it to transport goods or should they keep it to transport soldiers at key times? They had to make a choice. It was a dilemma. Xiaobao, is there any other way? When the time comes, we can choose one to transport the goods. When Old Man Bai asked this question, even he felt embarrassed. His old face turned red. He had really made things difficult for others. At this moment, Wang Wan pouted and took out another piece of paper. She stuffed it into Old Man Pai's hand. It's just a place to become an official, and you need so many things in exchange. The sleigh is good, but it's a big target. You also need to take care of the deer. This is for a single person. As long as you wear white clothes and a white hat in the snow, you won't be easily discovered. You don't have to worry about falling in the snow that's a few feet deep. There's also this thing that fits on the skis. It has barbs. Even if you go uphill, you'll be faster than a normal person. It's suitable for small groups of guerrilla warfare and delaying battles. Use a crossbow, choose the right terrain, attack quickly, attack from a distance, and run after attacking. If you add in our fireworks, it's very effective against other people's logistics. The more Wang Wan spoke, the more fluent she became. Zhang Xiaobao felt like he was listening to an advertisement. Old Man Pai and Old Man Chang didn't think so, especially Old Man Chang. He could draw a picture in his heart according to what Wang Wan said. He knew how effective this thing would be in a place with thick snow. Especially when used together with the hot wine made by the Zhang family, it would really appear and disappear like a ghost. If he was given 1,000 people who were familiar with using it, he would dare to fight against an army of 100,000. As long as he had enough bows and arrows and understood the terrain, even if he couldn't fight them head-on, he would drag them to death. Old Man Pai slapped his thigh. Good stuff. Then this thing called a sleigh can be used to transport goods. With his words, it meant that the next time Zhang Zhong became a local official, he would still be able to choose for himself. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sighed in relief at the same time. The two of them actually still had some good stuff that they didn't take out, and that was their eyes. They were specifically used to deal with snow blindness. If they fought in the snow for a long time, they couldn't do without snow glasses. Especially when they encountered people who were also wearing white, their eyes could be blinded. Since Old Man Pai had agreed, there was no need to take them out. They would wait until they needed them in the future. If they took them out all at once, it wouldn't show how precious they were. Besides, the snow glasses also needed glass, so they were hoping to sell them for more money. There's no time to lose. I'll immediately write a letter to ask the people from the Ministry of War and the Ministry of Works to come over. Do you have any good stuff? Take them out together. The sooner we use them, the sooner we can benefit the people. Chapter 548. Old Man Pai was a man of his word. He didn't care that it was the 28th of the 12th lunar month. He stopped fishing and ran back to the capital to write a letter. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan immediately made ice carts and steel ice skates. They planned to play on the pond after the 30th day. It was also a kind of entertainment tool for the villagers. When the 30th day arrived, the 3 Zhuangzi of the Zhang family, the 1 Zhuangzi of the Wang family, and the villagers of Gujia village and Li Sun's Zhuangzi gathered together again. Everyone was here. The only regret was that Li Sun had to return to the capital for the spring festival. He missed his family after not seeing them for more than a year. The 30th day of Zhangjie Zhuangzi was very lively. The sound of New Year's greetings rang out continuously. The fireworks continued for an hour. Dumplings with various fillings were eaten freely. Just like the New Year's celebration in Huaiyuan County, the houses were built with wooden boards. The 4 doors were all connected. People could go wherever they wanted. The adults were happy. They believed that there would be better days in the new year. However, the children were the happiest. They wore new clothes. No matter where they went, the lights were bright and they didn't feel cold. Even the people of the academy and between the clouds and the water who didn't go home were invited to watch the performance on the stage. Nearly 10,000 people stayed outside. Even Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's younger brother and sister didn't sleep. They waved their little hands excitedly and made incomprehensible sounds. They drank half a bowl of dumpling soup and didn't even drink milk. Their small house was occupied by the children of Zhuangzi who were younger than 2 years old. They climbed up and down as if they would never feel tired. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan spent a lot of money on this night. They spent more than 20,000 strings of coins on gifts, food, drinks, and houses. They didn't care. It was lively. There was a sense of security with more people. This is the real New Year. Xiaobao, how much did we spend? Wang Wan drank some wine and leaned against the wall. She asked Zhang Xiaobao, who was using the stove to roast prawns. That's a lot. Just the cost alone is 40,000 strings of coins. His Highness sent fireworks to the aristocratic families around the capital. Li Sun also took a lot of small abalones from us. He didn't give us a single copper coin. Those are abalones, not grass carps. He must be showing off to others with our money. Zhang Xiaobao also drank a lot of wine. He also gave Guingxi a set of beautiful glass wine set. As long as a woman was from the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family, she would be given a mirror. It was not big, 1 foot wide and 2 feet long. The farmers did not decline and accepted the gifts given by the master. At most, they would risk their lives if the master needed them in the future. Nowadays, the villagers could no longer be bought over with money. Ever since the villager who went to Hean County came back injured, the Zhang family series of actions made the villager want to protect the main family with all their hearts. They all prepared to wait until the new year and expand their business to further places. With the master behind them, they were not afraid of anything. Now, no family or official was willing to provoke the farmers of the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family. Bullying the farmers would not give them any benefits. If they really did make a move, they would have to wait for the revenge of the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family. Take the Ning family for example. They were such a big family and had hundreds of businesses outside. What was the result? When faced with the overwhelming attack of the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family, didn't they still shrink back? If they really wanted to deal with the Zhang family, then they would have to start with the main family. After all, revenge was the same. At first, they sent a letter to protest against Hean County with pigeons. Many officials thought that it was just empty talk, but they didn't expect that 5 days later, the Shuiyun Club's commercial attack would arrive. 7 days later, all the people who participated in the attack would have their legs broken by the guards of the Shuiyun Club. Fast, it was too fast, so fast that it made people scared. It only took 7 days to travel from Sanshui County to Hean County. If Hean County was occupied by other countries, the imperial court would not be able to arrive in such a short time even if they sent troops from Sanshui County. However, the guards between the clouds and the water were that fast. First, they used small boats with propellers to sail to the capital. There were already big boats in the capital. They directly changed boats and rushed to He'en County in one breath. Before the county yamen could react, they caught people according to the information of the shops and beat them up. The night of the 30th passed in a unique atmosphere. The farmers continued to prepare for the activities on the 15th. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also began to busy themselves. They were busy making lanterns, not for selling them. Since the first time the farmers in Zhuangzi started to make lanterns, even if the master was no longer there, the grocery store would still give them to them for free. It was a large lantern, the kind that could carry people when it flew. It was made of silk cloth, and the outside was smeared with gum to make the cloth airtight. An oil basin was hung below and tied with a rope. It was a large Kongming lantern, or rather, a hot air balloon. On the 15th of the first lunar month, of course there would be lanterns. Not only Sanshui County, but also Chang'an. No one stipulated that lanterns must be held by hand. A flying lantern was also a lantern. It was just that there were words on it. It wrote Sanshui County's smoked chicken and a picture of a smoked chicken. It flew on Zhuke Street in Chang'an, illuminating people for free. Good people, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were good people. Xiaobao, what do you think Li Longji's reaction will be if he sees such a big advertisement lantern? Are you really going to make it? Wang Wan felt that Zhang Xiaobao's idea was too crazy. While everyone was celebrating, he was advertising. Li Longji was holding a telescope and celebrating with the people. The moment he looked up and saw the house and the smoked chicken, would he pay for two to try? Can't you make a few more lanterns and hang the ones like peace throughout the world where he can see it and hang the ones with advertisements further away? Make 15 lanterns. Except for the direction of the palace, you can only make 5 lanterns in the other 3 directions. You can write good words on the first 2, and draw chicken on the last 3. Zhang Xiaobao only dared to do this because he had sent the sleigh in skis. He thought that Li Longji would not overreact. Wang Wan saw that Zhang Xiaobao was insistent and really did get someone to make 20 lanterns. 15 for her own use, and the other 5 to be sent to the palace for the people to play with. As for whether or not people would tie themselves up and float in the air out of curiosity, and whether or not the brazier under the lanterns could cause a fire, that was none of her concern. Before the 15 lanterns arrived, people from the Ministry of Works and the Ministry of War had found the lantern between the clouds and the water first. Old Man Pai had already asked someone to make the lantern. Any assistant minister from the Ministry of War was actually not a small rank. Lu Jiro from the Ministry of Works personally came to inspect the lantern. He felt that the Ministry of Works was embarrassing with the Zhang family around. Every time he made something, he would learn from the Zhang family. When he saw the snow sleigh, he realized that it had a very simple structure. If anyone from the Ministry of Works came over, they would be able to copy it and the workmanship would be even more detailed. However, no one had thought of such a simple thing. The snow here was not thick enough, so Lu Jiro asked someone to pull it on the ice and approved of the sleigh's function. Old Minister, although the sleigh is good, it is not very convenient to use. It must be used in places with thick snow. If we go north from here, we have to use other carriages to pull it. When the time comes, we have to change to the sleigh. It is very troublesome. Lu Jiro, who was not convinced and always wanted to follow the Zhang family, tried hard to find the problem. She was afraid that what she said just now was not convincing enough, so she added, for example, when transporting ceramics and other utensils, they have to be arranged again by familiar people. When they change to the sleigh, they have to be arranged again. Don't tell me that we have to let familiar people follow the carriage. This is a problem. Xiaobao, what do you think? Old Man Pai asked Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to come over today. Lu Jiro also helped. What kind of person was Zhang Xiaobao? As soon as he heard Lu Jiro's words, he could guess what she was thinking. This was jealousy, naked jealousy, and it was not disguised at all. Grandpa Bai, I thought it was something big. It is just a restriction on the transportation road. It is very simple. You can make the sleigh as big as the carriage and put a rack on it. When there is no snow, you can take the sleigh apart and put it on the carriage. When there is snow, you can put the sleigh under the carriage and use the rack to support it. The horse can be replaced with a deer, and you can pull it up and run. Grandpa Bai, things are dead, but people are alive. You have to learn and use it flexibly. Capable people think of principles, but incapable people put their hopes on others. When they encounter difficulties, they don't know how to think of a solution themselves. If they can't do it, then they are derelict in their duties. Zhang Xiaobao felt that he should teach the people in the Ministry of Works. If he did not think of a solution himself, he could not rely on restricting others to improve himself. It was not good for the country and the people. Wang Wan also added, Grandpa Bai, Xiaobao is right. Migratory birds move far away and fly towards the moon. When the sky is cloudy, those who fly high and cross the clouds to find the moon are strong. Those who fly low only know that the moon is bright, but do not know that the moon is everlasting. Those who look for the light under the clouds and lose their lives in the fire are weak. Old Man Pai understood, and so did Lu Jiro. Wang Wan was saying that migratory birds flew according to the sun and the moon, especially at night. The powerful birds directly flew into the clouds, and the weak birds only thought that where there was light was the moon. Even if there was a fire, they would stupidly fly up. Such birds could not compare to those that flew high. It was because he knew that Lu Jiro was depressed. If it was an adult, he could also find a way to vent. But these two children, each of them said a few words and trampled the Ministry of Works to the ground. Shameful, it was really too shameful. The two children could not have known that he would say this when they came over. Since they could say it, it could only be because the two children were smart. Lord Lu, the children are not sensible and speak the truth. Don't take it to heart. The problem of changing carriages is solved. Make a frame and let Lord Lu see if there is anything that you can't think of. Since the two children are here, let them help think. Treat it as compensation for speaking the truth just now. Old Man Pai was very happy. He finally saw Lu Jiro suffer. At this time, how could he not add insult to injury? The people in the Ministry of Works were indeed too lazy. If he mocked Lu Jiro, he would go back and supervise him more. Lu Jiro could not be angry with the two children. Besides, they were not wrong. He could only glare at the workers next to him. A younger worker who was glared at was not convinced and said, "Then what if there is suddenly a hole in the snow in front of us?" This time, there was no need for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to speak. Lu Jiro said, "What if you suddenly trip while walking? Are you not going to walk in the future?" Chapter 549. Through the exchange of benefits, Zhang Zhong's appointment was settled. Zhang Xiaobao was very satisfied with this arrangement. He would only feel at ease when he used the things he got at a price. It was worth it to buy the right to choose the local official position freely with the sleigh and the skis. This was not a simple local official. It represented a kind of strength. How many people in the Tang Empire could choose their own official position? In addition to this, there was also the matter caused by Lv Yenzhua, who had always been petty and wanted to make trouble for Zhang Zhong. Ever since he was taught a lesson by Zhang Zhong in Huayuan County, he had not given up. The last time he sent Zhang Zhong to Luzhou, he found out later that he was fooled. Luzhou was going to Lingnan anyway. Without his help, Zhang Zhong would have to pay more if he went there first. Zhang Xiaobao could understand LV Yanzua's thoughts. It was not that he was a bad person. If he was really bad, he would have impeached his father when he was in Luzhou. He just wanted to see his father suffer. That way, he would feel better. In terms of ability, Zhang Xiaobao had to admit that LV Yanzua was indeed extraordinary. He was just an assistant minister of the Ministry of Works, not the Ministry of Rights. How could he persuade the imperial court to reward the Zhang family with decorations on the streets during the Lantern Festival? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not know what to say when they heard the news. There were still 11 days before the 15th. They were in Sanshui County now. It would take them 4 days to get there, and they had to ride fast horses. Time was a little tight. Xiaobao, Cuckoo, you should take the money. Spend money to avoid disasters. This is the imperial court's test for your family. Assistant Minister LV is not bad. If he sent the edict a few days later, there would be no time. In the pavilion, Old Man Pai was persuading Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who had just found out about the news. He clearly knew that it was difficult for them, but in his heart, he was very supportive of LV Yanzua. He wanted to see how powerful the Zhang family was, and whether they had really reached a point where they could defy the heavens. 11 days, only 11 days, was an impossible task for anyone. However, when it came to the Zhang family, perhaps it would be different. The Zhang family was really too unpredictable. Old Man Chang had the same thought as well. He knew that the Zhang family had started doing things 8 years ago. Any one of them was beyond the imagination of ordinary people. However, they had done everything. Even when Luzhou was facing a disaster, they never gave up. When the 2 masters of the Zhang family were in trouble, it was as if they had turned into mountains and seas. They were so steady and profound that no one could see any flaws. 11 days was just the right time to test it out. Xiaobao, what should we do? 11 days is too short. Isn't this a trap? Wang Wan was also in a state of mental impasse. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the fog between the clouds and the water lake that was thought to be caused by a charcoal brazier. He stood up and pulled Wang Wan back. At the same time, he turned to Old Man Pai and said, Grandpa Bai, if you see Assistant Minister LV, tell him that the Zhang family and Wang family are grateful to him for giving us such an opportunity. Thank you. Don't tell me the Zhang family still has a trump card. Old Man Chang, who was chasing after Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, did not believe that the Zhang family could still be respected in such a situation. Old Man Pai was also not sure. He really could not find out the bottom line of the Zhang family. For example, the 2 things that were exchanged for the officials this time, the Zhang family had designed them first. They did not even lack a backup plan. No one could underestimate anyone but the Zhang family. I heard that the 2 masters of the Zhang family are good at strategizing and can see through the situation first. Maybe they can do it this time too. Old Man Pai said with uncertainty. Zhang Xiaobao walked at a moderate pace, as if he was strolling. When he entered the courtyard, he immediately began to issue orders. It was 11 days. It was too late to send people from Sanshui County, so they could only find people in Beijing to work. After the order was issued, Zhang Xiaobao said to Wang Wan, this is a good opportunity. You know, in the past, it was not easy to pay for large-scale activities. This time, it's good. We only need to spend the money for decorations. We don't need to give money to others. If it were me, others who wanted to participate would not only have to pay for all the decorations, but also have to pay extra money to buy this opportunity. Wang Wan knew what Zhang Xiaobao was referring to. For example, in the Olympic Games, if you wanted to participate in a certain part of the construction, not only would the construction money not be given to you, but you also had to compete and spend money to get this opportunity. However, she did not expect that Zhang Xiaobao would be able to solve this difficult problem for others so easily. Is your brain filled with this kind of stuff? I wonder what kind of expression LV Yenzhua will have when he finds out about your method. Wang Wan knew from Zhang Xiaobao's order that as long as they were willing to spend money, 11 days would be enough. The assistant minister could not compare to the minister. He did not have enough brains. He was not at the same level as Old Man Pai. Could it be that he did not understand that after reaching a certain level, it would be bad to scheme against others without paying for anything? At a certain level, no one would want to make someone of the same level suffer while they were unharmed. That was simply impossible. Most of the time, benefits were balanced through compromise and exchange. There was no need for people to go in person. The speed of the message was faster. The order was directly sent to the shop in Beijing by carrier pigeon. While everyone was curious, the 15th day of the first lunar month finally arrived. The night of the 14th day of the first lunar month passed. When they woke up early in the morning, the people in Beijing found that there was an ice sculpture placed on the street every 10 steps. Under the sunlight, which did not make people feel much warmth, they appeared even more sparkling and translucent. On the 3 roads where Zhuke Street and Tianmen Street intersected, nearly 1,000 people were busy. LV Yenzhua did not return to Beijing. He stayed at Between the Clouds and the Water. In order to find out about the situation in Beijing, he specifically looked for Old Man Chang. He knew that Old Man Chang had carrier pigeons and would definitely receive information about the situation in Beijing. When the sky was almost dark, the people who were concerned about how the 15th day of the first lunar month in Beijing received the news that it was an ice sculpture. As for what else there was, it was not clear. When it was time to light up the lanterns everywhere were lit. Zhangji Zhuangzi's 15th day was the same as before. Everyone spent it together. Old Man Pai and Old Man Chang were like New Year's, joining in the bustle. When the group of people had just crossed the small bridge, the very mysterious thing that was covered by the white cloth last night was revealed. During the day, they were still wondering what it was. With the help of the lanterns, the group of people finally saw the thing under the white cloth. It was actually an ice sculpture. As long as one was not stupid, they would be able to guess that it should be the same in Beijing. As someone shouted, "Light up," the ice sculptures lit up one by one. The light came from the middle of the ice, making the already beautiful ice sculptures even more enchanting at this moment. Under the contrast of each other, it gave people a dreamy feeling. People who had never seen the ice lanterns would never know what kind of scenery it was. It gave people the feeling that this was not the human world. The largest piece of ice in front of the Wang family's zhuangzi was actually 3 zhang tall. Not only were there candles lit inside, there were also words engraved and painted with gold powder. There were 4 rows of words that could be clearly seen without looking closely. A world of ice and snow, blurrily illuminates the years, proudly standing in the cold wind, its own sparkling color. At the bottom, there were 3 small pink words, between the clouds and the water. Good, good between the clouds and the water. I know what the scenery in Beijing will be like this year. It really lives up to the name, Between the Clouds and the Water. The 4 seasons change, but between the clouds and the water will always be blurred and dreamy. Oh, I almost forgot. Assistant Minister Liu, the Zhang family's Xiaobao, also asked this old man to express his gratitude for giving his family a chance. Thank you, thank you. Old Man Pai understood everything now. The Zhang family should have people make the same thing in Beijing. It was just a matter of spending a lot of money to find craftsmen. The Zhang family did not lack money. This time, it would definitely shock everyone in Beijing, including the emperor. According to the book Nature, the carved ice was not only beautiful because of the candles inside, but also because of the refraction and reflection, causing the night to become fluorescent. When the 10 large Kongming lanterns slowly rose, setting off the corridor and the canals below, everyone except for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were dumbfounded. They didn't even know where to look. Lu Yanzuo's feelings were very complicated. In reality, he didn't expect to do anything to Zhang Zhong. He just wanted to make trouble for Zhang Zhong and treat it as a game. But he never would have thought that the plan he had worked so hard to come up with would be so easily neutralized by the Zhang family. Moreover, it would be even better because of this. It seemed that all difficulties in front of the Zhang family were opportunities. Just like official Lute said, the Zhang family would become stronger when faced with a strong opponent. If you want to help the Zhang family, then do your best to scheme. At this time, Zhang Xiaobao pulled Wang Wan and jumped over like a child. Grandpa Bai, Grandpa Zhang, isn't it beautiful? It's a pity that there's not enough time. Otherwise, I could have made an ice lantern that can move. Wang Wan raised her head and said to Old Man Pai and Old Man Chang. It's beautiful, but the time it can stay is too short. In the end, it will melt away. Lu Jiro, who also found an excuse to stay, said first. Because it's short, it's beautiful, because it's nostalgic, it's eternal. Instead of feeling sentimental about things that will eventually pass away, it's better to cherish the things around you. Wang Wan wanted to argue with Lu Jiro, who told Lu Jiro to always stare at the things that Zhang Xiaobao made. Lu Jiro couldn't argue with a little girl, so she was choked and couldn't say anything. Old Man Pai rubbed Wang Wan's head, sighed, and said, "Good, in the future, there will finally be something pleasing to the eyes in the winter. Tell Grandpa, is there an advertisement for this thing called the ice lantern in the capital?" "No, it's just engraved in the place where it was made. It's very small. It's engraved below the 3 words between the clouds and the water. Otherwise, if something were to happen, who would blame them?" Wang Wan replied with a serious face. "Right, this isn't an advertisement. You have to praise it. In the future, as long as other people do the same, whether it's the person who made it or the person who saw it, the first thing they would think of would be the responsible between the clouds and the water, right?" When Old Man Pai heard Wang Wan say that the 3 words between the clouds and the water were engraved below the ice lantern, he could imagine how famous between the clouds and the water would be in the future, even in the south. After all, ice could be placed in an ice house. As long as one had money, they could make ice lanterns. Chapter 550. The ice lanterns were not popular among the people heading north, but the people in the capital. The people in the capital who liked to use ice lanterns were not high-ranking officials or aristocratic families, but businessmen. After the 15th day of the lunar month, people immediately followed suit. Low-ranking craftsmen could carve beautiful ice lanterns with a little money. The empty space in the middle was bigger, or the bottom was higher than the ground, so they did not have to worry about candles going out. In the worst case, they could dig a hole in the ice where it would not be easily discovered. Businessmen used ice lanterns as advertising signboards, especially in the busiest night markets in the eastern and western markets. Every shop would have an ice lantern in front of it, even if the weather was gradually warming up. After the 15th day of the lunar month, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan finally found out where Li Sun was going. He was in theft as the Prince of Tang and County and was in Huainan County. Normally, a thief like Li Sun would not allow him to go there. The thief would only collect a portion of the local tax. It was more of a title. However, due to various reasons, Li Sun was really sent there. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not know if the 2 of them had changed history, or if the history they had arrived at was as such. In any case, Bai Go, who was supposed to be dead, was still alive, and Li Sun, who had also died early, was still growing up healthily. The 2 of them were now studying Tang and County. They did not know where it was. At first, they thought it was in Shuzhou. The name was too confusing, so they kept changing it. Later, they felt that it was wrong. Fortunately, the two of them had a map sent by the local government. It was very detailed. For the sake of playing the game, it was a military map and business blueprint. Other than the palace, the other detailed map of the entire country was in the hands of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The two of them needed to gather and distribute the benefits. Lake Tai, I see Lake Tai. That means it is not far from the sea. It belongs to Jiangsu, right? No, it is not a lake, it is a place. Where is it? Wang Wan found the two words Lake Tai from the index. After a moment of joy, she realized that it was wrong. It belongs to Anhui province. Go up the river and down the river, it is Jiangsu. It is a little different from what we expected. How big is Lisun? Was Tong and County a county or a province? You can call it a province, but it's a little smaller than a normal province. You can call it a county, but it's a little bigger than a normal county. Zhang Xiaobao rested his chin on his hand as he fretted. He hoped to be closer to the sea so that transportation would be more convenient. He didn't have to make money through logistics. The main thing was that he could sell the local specialties and buy the useful goods back. Come, look at the map. I've found the specific location. It's next to the Yangtze River. It's easy to transport. Oh, will there be frequent floods? Wang Wan's hand tapped on the map, where a river was clearly drawn. Zhang Xiaobao gestured on the map. This doesn't look like the terrain of a flood. Why not? If the Yangtze River kept going east, it would be fine. But here, it turns to the northeast. It's so big, just like the Yellow River. The more Wang Wan looked at the place, the more uncertain it was. Zhang Xiaobao was depressed. Why did he have to face danger wherever he went? He stared at the map and said after a while, I don't believe that we will be able to get rich when we get there this year. I've decided. When we get there, no, right now, we will see if we have anyone doing business there. Plant more trees. Plant more trees along the Yangtze River in Shuzhou. Build dikes. If there's really a flood upstream, the willow trees will grow fast and survive easily. Tell me, the damage to the trees isn't too bad now. Why is it that they can flood? It has nothing to do with that. If a lot of vegetation is damaged, flooding is inevitable. But it doesn't mean that there won't be flooding if there is a forest. The geology is always changing. Besides, what's the use of planting trees? It's not a sudden flood. It's accumulated from upstream. If you really want to plant trees, plant them upstream. Wang Wan didn't complain about the environmental damage. Even if they planted trees, it could only reduce the disaster, but it couldn't prevent it. Besides, if there were too many trees, it was easy to cause forest fires. As long as the earth was still moving, as long as the geology was still changing, no one could say that there wouldn't be disasters. The only way was to reduce the probability as much as possible and invest more money in prevention and emergency. Of course, the Tang dynasty destroyed the vegetation too much for food. But the creation of the desert couldn't be blamed on cutting down trees. There were many reasons to change the environment, and people were only one of them. Wang Wan didn't object to Zhang Xiaobao planting trees. Since people could destroy, they could also fight with nature and carry out maintenance. In the process of increasing and decreasing, many disasters that shouldn't have happened could disappear. But she and Zhang Xiaobao couldn't go upstream to stop people from destroying the forest and building farmland, unless they could find higher yield food earlier. Why would people care about environmental protection? Compared to a disaster that they might not encounter in their lifetime, being able to eat tomorrow was the most important thing. Xiaobao, why don't you work hard to repair the dam? It's useless to only plant trees in one place, Wang Wan suggested. Zhang Xiaobao laughed and said, don't I know that planting trees is useless against floods? It's just an excuse. There must be good farmland nearby. If you want to plant trees, will they let you? Isn't it to strengthen the dam? I don't have a deep impression of this place. My father has to develop there. The transportation can't be compared to places where there are canals, and the mineral resources are not easy to develop. How can we not think of some access? Looking at the map, we know that the place is not big. As long as it is planned well, planting food will not be delayed, and we can also plant some medicinal herbs. I found that people nowadays pick medicinal herbs instead of planting them. Let's plant willow trees there. In the name of disaster prevention, we can plant medicinal herbs in the space between the willow trees. In the future, we can sell medicinal herbs. 100-year-old ginseng may have mutated parts, but I don't think there is any difference between a 20-year-old ginseng and a 5-year-old ginseng. At most, we can increase the dosage. Since we don't know how to plant ginseng now, we will plant what we can. Is that what you think? But where will we sell the medicinal herbs after planting them? Wang Wan understood that Zhang Xiaobao's thoughts were not on disasters at all. Excuses, all excuses. Of course, we will sell them to our own families and hospitals. I don't know if it's because of the development of our society at that time or the current society. You say that doctors are important, right? They are. Even the palace has imperial doctors. On the other hand, their social status is too low. We can help craftsmen by organizing competitions, and doctors should be the same. This profession is the same as teaching. If we can guarantee their moral character, it will play a very big role in promoting the development of society. I am prepared to wait until the day comes when the people of the Great Tang can enjoy treatment at an extremely low price. In the spirit of internationalism, good things should be shared with other countries and races, and they should be able to enjoy better medical treatment before the people of the Great Tang. The price should be lower. For example, a stone of copper ore can be exchanged for a medicine to treat colds. For example, the Yinqiao tablet in Chinese medicine should be used to help them. Also, Japan, which has been living peacefully with us, should enjoy the same or better treatment. There should be a lot of silver there, right? 1 tael of silver for such a big pill that can help digestion. It's cheap. Zhang Xiaobao finally showed his dirty tricks. His hand drew a circle with a diameter of about 3 centimeters to show the size of the pill. Wang Wan nodded. I understand. You're planning to shift the losses from the subsidies to others. The benefits you speak of are only for the people of the Great Tang, and then you'll have others pay the bill. What's the difference between that and the Western countries of our time? They used various means to pressure their own people's welfare on other countries. That's not the same. The social system is different. They are capitalist, which I am very disgusted with. I want to protect imperialism. Compared to our time, the current medical treatment is backward, but now it is advanced for other countries. Nowadays, the people of other countries yearn for the Tang Empire just like how we yearn for the Western countries in the first 50 years of our time. They would rather spend 50 or 60 renminbi to buy fried chicken from a foreign chain store than spend 30 or so RMB to buy a roast duck. This is not only related to the value of the goods, but it also represents a kind of consumer psychology. It's not the international standard price. At that time, the money to eat abroad was cheap compared to the currency of that time. Wang Wan also knew about that period of history. How is it cheap? It's not cheap to have fewer things. Without vegetables, the price of vegetables is high in foreign countries, and they pay attention to the nutrition. In China, there is only meat and vegetables. Fortunately, I didn't live in that era. Let's go and ask Grandpa Bai. Has my father's matter been settled? Zhang Xiaobao seemed to have specially studied the history of that period. He pulled Wang Wan to ask about his father. When the two of them found Old Man Pai, the Old Man Pai first said to them, Xiaobao, Cuckoo, now you can rest assured. The place has been settled, and the official of lower class 3 is in our hands. Lower class 3. I thought it was upper class 4. Zhang Xiaobao was stunned for a moment. At the same time, he had other thoughts in his mind. Back then, he thought that Shuzhou was like Zhongzhou, which was upper class 4. Now, his father was lower class 4. Since he could be lower class 3, he must be the provincial governor of Shangzhou. If it was Shangzhou, there must be a lot of food, and the economy must be prosperous. Was that place really that good? While Wang Wan was happy for Zhang Xiaobao, she also asked, Grandpa Bai, what about my father? My father is still a lower class 4 scattered official. This is not easy to handle. We will find a way in the future. Old Man Pai didn't expect Wang Wan to ask for an official position for her father at this time. It was indeed not easy to achieve this wish. He had just arranged a position for Zhang Zhong, which was a position that was exchanged for benefits. It was a bit too much to add another one in immediately. Zhang Xiaobao knew that Old Man Pai had done his best. It was not easy for a person who was already idle at home to help. He didn't get any benefits from the exchange. Since it was not easy to handle, then it would be delayed. Grandpa Bai, when will my father take office? We can't delay the spring plowing. Zhang Xiaobao asked the thing he was most concerned about. Chapter 551. With the arrival of Li Sun's fief, Zhang Zhong's final post was also announced. He would only be a secondary grade 3 official. This was what Zhang Xiaobao thought. Shuzhou was too small. His official post was bigger than Lu Zhou's original post, but there were fewer avenues for development. Shuzhou was an upper province. Among the several counties under its jurisdiction, only one was a middle county. The rest were all upper counties. If one wanted to make money in such a place, the simplest word was greed. However, this word was impossible for the Zhang family. Zhang Zhong was determined to be a good official, and Li Sun was also prepared to let the people under his administration live a better life. Zhang Xiaobao felt a lot of pressure from the merchants in Shuzhou. The collusion between officials and merchants would always happen. Zhang Xiaobao wanted to tell the merchants there, come and collude with me. I'll integrate you and make a fortune together. However, he could imagine that when his father arrived there, no merchant would take out money to bribe him. It was not that they did not want to, but they could not afford it. They were not fools. How much would it cost to bribe Zhang Zhong? If they took out 10,000 strings of coins, they would blush. If it was 100,000 strings of coins, Zhang Zhong might look up and give it to Zhang Zhong. The Zhang family could throw a mansion worth a few strings of coins to the new provincial governor of Luzhou, so why would they care about money? Xiaobao, you're in trouble, aren't you? The people in Shuzhou are not like the people in Luzhou. If you give them some benefits, they will be grateful and go to the upper counties one after another. Wang Wan was also in a dilemma. The previous methods did not seem to be applicable in this new place. A real beggar would kowtow if you gave him a dime. A professional beggar would scold you if you gave him a dime. The people in Shuzhou lived a good life. What help could they give? The thoughts of the rich were also different from those of the poor. Zhang Xiaobao also knew what he was going to face, so he said, yes, it's difficult. Fortunately, this is the Tang dynasty. If it were our time, people would be smart, and it would be too difficult to win over anyone. Don't expect a gentleman to die for his bosom friend. Since material things can't be satisfied, then let's start from the spiritual side. Xiao Bao, Cuckoo, hurry up and show me the map. I have a place now. When I go there, you two must take care of me. Li Sun arrived between the clouds and the water with a transparent lantern in his hand before the 20th day of the first lunar month. It seemed that the person who helped him board the boat must be very tired. Commandery Princely, what are you talking about? You are now a secondary grade 1 official. My father is just a secondary grade 3 official. If we want to talk about taking care of you, it should be you who takes care of us. Zhang Xiaobao said to Li Sun meaningfully. Wang Wan also echoed, yes, we should call you Your Highness in the future. A commandery prince is also a prince. If Your Highness has something in the future, you can send someone to inform us. Why do you have to come in person? Li Sun was stunned. It seemed that he did not know Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. After a while, he recovered and looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan carefully. How can you do this? I know that you once said that the most ruthless imperial family is the imperial family, but I am not. I can't reach that position. Other than you, I don't have any friends. I would rather not be a secondary grade 1 commandery prince. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan originally wanted to test Li Sun and see if he had changed. That way, they could change their strategy. At this time, when they saw that Li Sun was about to cry, the two of them could not bear to continue. The person who should have died was still alive because of their appearance. It could be said that they had created a new commandery prince. Wang Wan had always treated Li Sun as a child. Since Li Sun was like this, she could not bear to hurt him. She looked at Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao was also relieved. He immediately said, Young Master Li, you can't say that. You will be a commandery prince when you arrive. If you want to show your status, you need to practice now. Shuzhou is a rich place, and Tang and County is especially rich. When you arrive, you don't know what you will face. You need to learn some skills. I have already planned for you. When you arrive, you will first build a pear garden. It will be the same as the ones in the capital and Huaiyuan County. However, the content will be different. You can no longer wear cotton clothes. You must wear silk. It is not far from Chuzhou, so you can use the cloth there. No matter how smart Li Sun was, he was not as smart as Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He lacked experience. Wang Wan was a descendant of an aristocratic family. She had been in contact with all kinds of people since she was young. Zhang Xiaobao was even more so. He had seen all kinds of people and encountered all kinds of things. When he heard the two of them say this, he was finally relieved. He was actually very lonely. Although many people came to flatter him just because he said something, he did not need this kind of so-called help. He wanted true friendship. Counting with his fingers, he only had Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, Lu, Xin and Wei Wei. The others either avoided him because of his status or deliberately approached him. If he lost his only friends, he really did not know what to do. Then shouldn't I find more people who can play musical instruments? Why don't I get them from Huaiyuan County? Anyway, the people there will listen to you. Li Sun was not stupid. He understood Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's meaning in one sentence. They were following in the footsteps of Wang Wan. You don't need to find others. You can train them when you arrive. I have already thought of several ways for you to perform. The first one is cuckoo. Zhang Xiaobao could now carry out his plan, which was to live a spiritual life. Wang Wan cooperated and lowered her voice. She tried to sing in a man's voice, the birds on the tree are in pairs eye. The green water and green hills with a smile eye. You and I are like mandarin ducks. Zhang Xiaobao played along. Mandarin ducks, you. what are you singing? It's so nice and interesting. Will I use this when I arrive? Li Sun understood. This was a new thing. He figured he would have to learn from the imperial uncle's pear garden when the time came. The man insisted on singing a woman's voice while the woman sang a man's voice. This was something he had never seen before. When Li Sun saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan singing and gesturing, he suddenly felt envious. Is this what you mean by riding a bamboo horse and circling the bed to play with green plums? I'm about to get married, but I don't know what kind of woman I'll marry. I don't have the final say. You two are the best. You've been together since you were young, and you'll be together when you grow up. Send me more cement. I'm going to build cement roads in Tang and County. Yes, just give it to me. Don't worry about the others. They're of the same generation as me, so they can't afford to offend me. If anyone tries to make things difficult for your family, I'll help you hold them back. Li Sun made a promise to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Indeed, he thought the same. When he was in Luzhou, he had often shared the burden of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The people of the same generation in the imperial family hated him, including the crown prince. Everyone knew that the Zhang family could make a lot of money. No one dared to touch them, but how could the imperial family let them go so easily? However, whenever they wanted to make a move, they would be stopped by Li Sun. There was nothing they could do. Li Sun was the son of Prince Si Ning, and he was adopted. In fact, he had two fathers. One gave birth to him, and the other was counting on him to continue the family line. Not to mention that he was very obedient. Even if he tried to rebel and failed, he would not be killed. If Li Longji wanted to kill him, he would have to face two brothers at the same time. There were so many marquises, but they could not interfere in the lucrative business. It could be said that they both loved and hated Li Sun. Li Sun would give them many precious things every year, and they were unwilling to reject him. However, they always stood in front of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. If it was not Li Sun, but any other son of an official, these people from the imperial family would dare to look for trouble. However, Li Sun was different. He could directly write a letter to Li Longji. They had never seen someone like him. Even if there was a trivial matter, he would write a letter to Li Longji and chat with his father. He also talked a lot about how he dealt with the Shen family last time. As long as he did something secretly, the descendants of the imperial family did not have to worry at all. Even if he threatened a small family, the small family would have to stand firm unless there was an official in the imperial court who could protect them. The Zhang family had also been threatened before. In the end, not only did the Zhang family not compromise, but the Zhang family retaliated. Moreover, Li Sun kept snitching on them. The descendants of the imperial family were very depressed. Zhang Xiaobao understood the meaning behind Li Sun's words. He nodded and did not say anything about this matter. He knew that this was not only because of Li Sun, but also because of Li Longji. His family had given Li Longji many benefits over the past few years. Apart from inventing new things for Li Longji, they had also secretly given him shares. Moreover, all the things they gave out were for the benefit of the country and the people. As long as Li Longji was not stupid, he would not do anything to the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Xiaobao, Cuckoo, what do you think will be the most valuable thing we can plant when we get there? After Li Sun dealt with the matter of the pear orchard, he thought of the development plan for Luzhou. We'll plant what the locals used to plant. I haven't told you this before, but it's not too difficult to increase the production of food, especially under such circumstances. Zhang Xiaobao hesitated for a moment before he finally decided to tell Lu Zhou about the Maifan stone. This thing was indeed very important. Although it was only a small amount of elements, it had a great effect on plants and animals. Otherwise, Kashinbek disease would not have developed due to the influence of water quality. Even drinking a ton of hard water would not have any effect on the body. The main thing was that it had a long-term effect on the human body. The My Fan stone had a slightly faster effect on plants. The reason why Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not use the My Fan stone to plant plants was not because it was ineffective, but because it was not worth it. It was just like how oil was not refined. Instead, it was smeared on firewood in its original form to light a fire for a big brick bed in a village. If one smeared more oil, even the ashes of the brick bed would be pushed out. However, that was not the true value of oil. For the current generation, the My Fan stone was not very useful. It was used for bathing, soaking rice, and purifying water. No matter how the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan used it, they did not need too much of it. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were not stupid enough to sell purified water and mineral water. With Zhang Xiaobao's explanation, Li Sun finally learned the methods to increase the production of food. The first method was the selection of seeds, the second was the disinfection, and the third was the comprehensive use of fertilizers. The fourth was the My Fan stone, and the last was the casting of seedlings. The last method was the pesticides used to plant cotton, such as lime water and indigo. Why didn't you tell me about these methods earlier? That way, it would have been more convenient for the Sinongsi to research new seeds. Li Sun was dumbfounded. It turned out that the Zhang family knew more things, but they had been doing it secretly. No wonder their food production was so high. Young Master Li has played poker before, right? The more people know about your trump cards, the less safe it will be. If you did not have to go to a new place and make achievements in a prosperous place, this secret might not be known to others until a few years later. Zhang Xiaobao was not lying to Li Sun this time. He was indeed paving the way for Li Sun. It was good to be a county king. He did not need to pay the rent tax, and no one else would. If Li Sun paid the tax, then, he would also gain a lot of benefits while offending people. He was very capable. Moreover, Li Sun had an advantage, and that was, he was rich. If others paid the rent tax casually, it might make others think more, but not Li Sun. He had paid 100,000 strings of strings to help build the canal. Zhang Xiaobao had also paid 110,000 strings of cash. It was the safest for Li Sun to put the money on the table. Shuzhou was much closer to Sanshui County than Luzhou. The transportation was relatively more convenient. One could enter the canal from the Yangtze River, and it would be easier to get to the canal. When the Zhang family and the Wang family were preparing to move, Old Man Pai was also ready. He had now formed a habit. He could only enjoy life with the Zhang family. Moreover, he could also see the development of the Zhang family in a certain place. In order to help the Zhang family, he also asked for a few sets of furniture from the Zhang family, the most luxurious kind. Even the crocodile leather cushions were included. They were all gifts. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were very touched by the old man's actions. Although it was free gifts, both of them knew that there were many people who did not want to give whatever they wanted. With Old Man Pai around, they did not have to worry about this. On the 27th day of the first lunar month, the fleet of the Zhang family and the Wang family set off. Yes, it was a fleet. They sprinkled salt on the ice that had not melted and used manual labor to dredge it. They dredged the small river from Sanshui County to the capital. At this moment, the capability of the Zhang family was truly displayed. Many people used to describe the Zhang family as a city of ice in summer and cold flowing water in winter. What they thought was impossible was possible for the Zhang family. When the Zhang family and the Wang family set off, the water of the Yellow River had not completely melted yet. Many officials and aristocratic families were watching to see what the Zhang family would do. Zhang Xiaobao knew that at this moment, they had to cross the river by water. The method of travel involved too many things. Whether the local officials in Suzhou would be convinced or whether the people who wanted to deal with the Zhang family would be deterred, they had to do it before the water of the Yellow River melted. 10 tons of salt were sprinkled from the capital to the place where the canal connected. The large fleet of the Zhang family moved. Unlike before, the ships of the fleet this time were modified before the Zhang family set off from Sanshui County. An inch-thick iron plate was installed at the bow of the ship, and a half-inch thick iron plate was installed at the place where the ship could touch the water. The ship did not carry more goods or people, and a lot of stones were installed at the stern of the ship to weigh the ship down. Even the left and right wheels of the ship were also wrapped in iron sheets. The speed was slow, but when the Zhang family's fleet moved forward against the layer of ice that had been melted by the salt, everyone who was prepared to see the Zhang family and the Wang family make a fool of themselves was speechless. Strong, too strong. They understood that the Zhang family did not have to travel on the river. It would be the same if they traveled by land. However, they chose the river. This was not a question of whether the ship could cross the river. It represented the attitude of the Zhang family and the Wang family. When the fleet broke through the ice and moved forward, the smart people understood that it was not the ship that was tough, but the Zhang family and the Wang family that was tough. They used this method to tell those who wanted to scheme against them to weigh their own weight and see if they could touch the proud bones of the Zhang family and the Wang family. Looking at the fleet that was slowly breaking through the ice, everyone who was watching was moved. Chapter 552. It took 12 days for the fleet to reach Kaifeng. Fortunately, this waterway was relatively straight, unlike the upstream where there was a several character. Otherwise, according to the fleet's practice, they would have to spend more money and cause local floods. As soon as the fleet passed, the Yellow River was immediately open to navigation. Some of the fishermen had boats and were very grateful to the Zhang family's fleet for opening up the road. They could cast nets in the river to catch fish again. There was also a small group of people who were very angry. They could have dug holes in the ice to catch fish, but now, they couldn't catch any. The people who were ferrying people back and forth had work again. The people who could walk on the ice were a little resentful. They couldn't see too much and only knew that they had to spend money again. However, they didn't know that fewer people fell into the ice this year. Even if the Zhang family's fleet didn't break the ice in advance, it would have to open the river in a few days. It was very dangerous to walk on the ice. The Zhang family directly paid more than 30,000 strings of coins for this trip. Salt, that cost money. There was also the iron used to charter the ship. In addition, there was also a ship that was unlucky enough to encounter a big hole in the ice. Its wheel was also broken, so it could only be left in the local area to be repaired. They should be grateful to us. Li Sun stood at the bow of the ship, his nose red from the cold wind, and muttered. Now he was no longer as ignorant as before. His way of judging things was more and more similar to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Spending a lot of money to break the ice was a little benefit that the Zhang family left for the capital. They could lead water downstream to soak the land in advance. Since the Zhang family and Wang family of Sanshui County, Zhuangzi, most of the people followed suit. This method of compressing manure was fast and the manure was fertile. The main reason was that it could compress a lot of straw and leaves together. It had been used for several years. In addition, according to the method provided by the Zhang family and the seeds cultivated by their own research institute, the Sidong temple had been planted near the capital for 2 years. The output was very high. Last year, the amount of grain transported from the south had decreased by a lot. The Zhang family and Wang family did not fight over this credit. They gave it to whoever deserved it. Presumably, the people in the imperial court all understood this. In addition to being able to soak the ground in advance, it could also make the ice melt faster upstream. The faster the water flow, the faster the ice melt. This could prevent the formation of ice dams in the shape of a cross and minimize the possibility of a spring flood. This method was very good. If it could be used together with the burying of gunpowder, it would save him a lot of trouble every year. The insightful people in the imperial court also discovered this problem, but the investment was too large. 30,000 strings of cash, and this was the cost of the Zhang family's own business. There might be a spring flood once every 5 years. The scale of this flood might be large or small. If it was large, then it was worth investing tens of thousands of strings of cash to clear it in advance. If it was small, there might not be any danger at all. No one could bear to spend so much money every year. No one dared to mention using money in exchange for unknown dangers. The people in the imperial court clearly knew the benefits, but they could not mention it. Li Sun was different. He had his own ideas. He was going to discuss with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan about buying gunpowder and learning the fixed-point blasting technique. This technique had always been mastered by Wang Wan, and no one else knew how to do it. Li Sun believed that the Zhang family had mastered the method. He wanted to take out 50,000 strings of cash every year to break the ice before the river opened. He thought it was worth it, although 50,000 strings of cash could buy 25 million caddies of good grain in normal times. He had money. All kinds of business with the Zhang family could provide him with an income of more than 200,000 strings of cash a year. This did not include the money that had been invested in the development of new industries. When those few places could make money, his income would be even more. He was not going to rebel, so he really did not know what to do with so much money. In the past, he earned money so that he could have a better life. At the same time, he could show off to his peers in the imperial family. Now, his life was much better. He had the most comfortable furniture and his own fleet. Others might buy them at a high price, but he was buying them at a cost. It was a crime not to spend money when one had so much money, and others would be jealous. Li Sun now understood Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's theory. That was, consumption could improve the national strength of the entire Tang Empire. When there was demand, there would be output. Many people were too simple-minded. They did not think about how to make more money. Those who had land would only guard that small amount of land. They only planted one crop of grain a year. They were busy in spring, followed by summer, and harvested in autumn. In winter, they stayed at home and did not go out. How could this work? Li Sun had seen the construction of the people in Luzhou. They could always find work to do, and they were not tired. They spread out their rest time, and their annual income was 100 times that of the ordinary people around the capital. Part of it was because of the region, but most of it was because the people could not think of more ways to increase their income, so they had to be guided. Li Sun wanted to do this now. He had learned many ideas, and they were not taught by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Instead, he figured them out based on Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's way of doing things. There were all kinds of animals in the capital. They were not raised for food, but for viewing. Then, the people could raise them as well. They could raise rabbits and deer. Why did they have to go hunting in the mountains? Li Sun thought about it. First, he would invest 50,000 strings of coins a year to dredge the river that was about to be developed. Then, he would take out another 50,000 strings of coins to encourage the people in the capital and the north to raise animals, especially in places where the land was sparsely populated. He would casually plant some food that people did not like to eat, and when the time came, he would raise animals. A coat made of rabbit skin could be sold for 700 to 800 copper coins. Backward. My thinking is too backward. Li Sun moved a chair and sat at the bow of the ship. He looked at the beggars on the dock and gestured for someone to bring them over. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan felt that Li Sun seemed to be obsessed. It was fortunate that they brought him along to do business. Otherwise, based on his ideas, there was no need for them to live. Whenever there was a small matter in the imperial court, he would take money. It was fine if he took it himself, but every time, he would have to drag Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's families into it. Even the other merchants who worked with him could not escape. For example, the construction of the canal should be done by the autumn of this year. The imperial court had originally planned to invest 250,000 strings of coins to build a simple canal to connect to the main canal. In the end, just Li Sun and his family took out 210,000 strings of coins. The other merchants added up to a total of 400,000 strings of coins. Li Longji immediately stopped taking the money and changed the blueprint of the canal, making it wider and farther than the original one. Fortunately, the person in charge of building the canal was an official from an aristocratic family under the Ministry of Works. With Lu Jiro's suppression, he did not dare to be greedy. Otherwise, he would rather waste manpower and send people from the inner court to build the canal. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were not afraid of spending money. They would have more income in the future. They were worried that the money they took out would not be completed and instead be embezzled. The two of them hated embezzling project funds the most. If they were really capable, they could turn a lower county into an upper county. It was acceptable for the county magistrate to embezzle 1/10 of the rent. The commoners did not care how much they embezzled. As long as they could eat more and live in better houses, they were good officials. While Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were thinking about this matter, Li Sun saw that the two of them were not speaking. He said, "Xiaobao, say something. How can we make the commoners not be ignorant? Isn't that simple? Let them be literate and read all kinds of books. Let them understand how vast the sky is and what the sea is like. They will naturally change." Wang Wan directly gave the answer. "That's simple. Then you have to help me. I plan to provide such a place for the commoners to learn in 3 years." Li Sun was full of confidence. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan shook their heads vigorously. 3 years. It will be good enough if all the commoners can become literate in 30 years. We can't take out tens of millions of strings of money to help you achieve your wish in 3 years. Why do you need so much? Li Sun's idea was simple. He wanted people to build schools in poor places. He wanted to build one in each village. It did not require too much money. He would use local materials and the commoners would be able to learn. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not need Li Sun to say it. They knew what he was thinking. Zhang Xiaobao felt that he had to continue teaching Li Sun. He was thinking too simply. Don't think that building schools is enough. The commoners won't learn. If you want the commoners to free up time to learn, you have to feed them. You have to increase productivity. This is not difficult. Within 3 years, we will definitely find crops with higher yields for the commoners to grow. Then we have to build roads. We have to encourage the commoners to raise more poultry and livestock. In the early stages, we even need to borrow money from them. Next is the printing of books. This is not difficult either. We have already improved on papermaking. Little Kai's method is not bad. We can build factories overseas and use the trees there to make paper. When we open up wastelands in the Great Tang, we should try not to burn them. We will not leave the grass behind. We are willing to invest this money. We will set up papermaking factories everywhere. We have new printing methods. This is simple. The most difficult part is the literati. When we print books, we can't do it like now. Look at that ice. In the literati's words, it is ice. The water is colder than water. How long will the commoners have to learn? They can say that water will freeze when it is cold. But this is definitely not possible. The literati finally have something to show off. Will they let you use simple words to express simple things? Wouldn't people find fault with my raising earthworms to feed the chickens? It was said that the earth dragon was born in the earth and existed from the earth. Chickens eating the earth dragon was chosen by the heavens. Humans could go against the heavens. He was doomed. This was pure bullshit. How was it heaven-defying for me to raise some earthworms? But what the common people want to learn is precisely this kind of knowledge. You teach them, there are many fishes in the water, there are fish in the water, there are carps 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 in the water. People just want to know how to plant more food, how to raise chickens to grow faster, and what can't be eaten together with what. This is called class. In order to protect their own mystery and interests, they can do anything. When Zhang Xiaobao mentioned this matter, he felt sullen. If he wanted to teach more people, he had to consider the current environment. A lot of knowledge could only be taught to the villagers. Outsiders were not allowed to know. Li Sun also remembered this matter. He chuckled and said, "That official who impeached your family was exiled. Why do you still want him? He is also stupid. Of all the times to impeach you, why did he have to impeach you when there was a plague of locusts in the Hunan province? Your chickens were eating the locusts. Since there is too much resistance, let's do it slowly. At least under my rule and your father's rule, no one can stop us." Do you know why your father was assigned to Shuzhou? It was not only because your family exchanged two good things. The most important thing was that the previous provincial governor was too unreasonable. In the past few years, Shuzhou handed in 110,000 strings of coins. The fluctuation was not big. But in recent years, it was getting less and less. Before the shipment at the end of last year, it was reported to be 60,000 strings of coins. That was Shangzhou. It was not even as much as your Sanshui County. The tax of Sanshui County was more than the tax of two Shuzhou. If you don't teach them a lesson, who do you want to teach them a lesson? Nowadays, the imperial court would compare Sanshui County with other places. In the past, they would always be praised after paying the tax from other provinces. However, ever since Sanshui County's tax was introduced, even if Chuzhou City sent 180,000 strings of coins as tax last year, the imperial uncle only said, "Got it. This time, I sent your father here because I hope to repeat the situation. The most important thing is to fight with the local families, officials, and rich merchants who have been bribed. It's not that they don't have money, it's that they can't collect it." Oh. I see. Good, I like it. Zhang Xiaobao nodded, indicating that he understood. Wang Wan was also very excited. She wanted to see Zhang Xiaobao's methods in business. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family were at their most difficult time, Zhang Xiaobao was able to do whatever he wanted. He made all the merchants who came to look for trouble suffer. It had been a long time since he last saw them. He missed them. The more powerful the businessmen in Shuzhou were, the better. There were many movies that portrayed ancient times. The government officials were troubled first, and then they found evidence to deal with them in one fell swoop. That was a little bad. Why did they have to find something to deal with them? Wouldn't it be better to fight with the merchants directly? Zhang Xiaobao did not know that Wang Wan was thinking about this. He said that it was because the situation there was complicated, and it was easy to train his father. That place was not Luzhou. It was difficult. As for whether he would fail because he could not win, there was no need to think about what would happen after he failed. There was no such result. Li Sun was not worried. He did not believe that anyone could win against the Zhang family. Other officials were afraid that the local families and merchants had connections with someone or a few people in the imperial court. They were afraid that they would make trouble behind the scenes. They were afraid that they would be involved with a marquis, a county prince, or a prince. The Zhang family was not afraid. If it was related to the imperial family, it was enough for him to show up. Everyone was of the same status, and no one could suppress the other. Besides, he was rich. Didn't Xiao Bao and Cuckoo say that money could make the world go round? More importantly, he could write to the imperial uncle at any time. It was not a memorial, just like a letter to home. This was a privilege that only he could enjoy. Who asked him not to live with the Zhang family and the Wang family? If the imperial uncle wanted to know about the situation of the experts in the Zhang family, he would have to write a letter. A letter to home was much more useful than a memorial. No matter what happened, he could write it. Whoever dared to make trouble in the imperial family would be punished by the imperial uncle. There was no need to worry about the pressure from the officials of the imperial court. The news had probably reached Shuzhou by now. It meant that he could not count on them to speak for him in the imperial court. He had to think of his own way. Zhang Zhong's matter could not be fooled by anyone. The imperial uncle, the prime minister, and a few other important officials were watching. They could impeach him, suppress the memorial if it was reasonable, and punish him if it was unreasonable. If it was said directly in the imperial court, they would change the topic. They hoped that the Zhang family could create one miracle after another. Li Sun could guess what the imperial court was thinking. If Sanshui County could be turned into an upper county and pay so much rent every year, wouldn't the upper province pay even more rent? Whoever dared to make trouble was no different from courting death. Your Highness, they are here. The person who went to lead the beggars came back and brought the 6 little beggars to Li Sun. Well, take them to wash and change their clothes. Then go with the boat. Ask them if they have families. If they do, take them with you. If they are rich, take the children with you. Remember, if you see such people, take them back to the manor. Help as many as you can. Li Sun casually glanced at the 6 children. After giving the order, he did not mention this matter again. He now understood that as long as it was within his ability, he would help. If all the rich people in the Tang Empire could be like him, would there still be beggars in the Tang Empire? Begging did not mean that they could not do anything. In fact, there were no other opportunities. With the knowledge they had learned, it was still very easy to find a job. Let the children study. When they grew up, they would be useful. The 6 beggars did not know how noble Li Sun's identity was. They only knew that the person who gave them food and clothes was more powerful than the county magistrate. The county magistrate trembled at the sight of him, not to mention the village chief. It was very scary. Xiao Bao, how many days will the boat stop? Don't delay the spring plowing. After the 6 children were taken away without even asking for their names, Li Sun asked Zhang Xiaobao in boredom. Originally, we planned to leave today after replenishing our supplies. But since we will encounter trouble there, we can only stop for 2 more days to prepare. 2 days of delay is not a big deal. When you get there, there will be a lot of good farmland. You can plant whatever you want. At the same time, you can also buy the wasteland. Zhang Xiaobao was also very leisurely. He and Wang Wan did not have much work now. Every day, they only had to study, exercise, and play with their younger brothers and sisters. They did not have to care about the livelihood of the people and had more energy to spend on calculations. It was very interesting. Li Sun nodded. He believed that Zhang Xiaobao would not lie to him for no reason, but he could not think of what to do with buying the wasteland. Before he asked, Zhang Xiaobao explained to him. After buying the wasteland, we will build houses on it. Most of the land will be used to raise scorpions. I want to do an experiment on a small part of the land. If there is a mountainous area, we can also raise more snakes. The development direction of that area will be changed in the future. Every place needs to have its own characteristics. This summer, there will be no shortage of food. A lot of food will be shipped back from overseas. Shuzhou does not have to produce much food. I plan to build a base of medicinal herbs there. You will be the first one to eat crabs. After eating it, teach it to the local people and try to grow other medicinal herbs. Oh! Medicine can be raised and planted. What about selling it? In the future, there will be no shortage of medicine in the palace. This was the first time Li Sun had heard of such a thing. In the past, it was always a place that had medicinal herbs as a tribute, using all kinds of things to replace the rent. If they could be raised, then fewer snake catchers would die, and they could just find snake catchers to raise the snakes. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. It can be planted and raised, but the effect of the medicine may be a little worse. It doesn't matter. Just increase the amount and sell it to the hospital. You need to summarize the various problems during the planting and raising, then let the local people plant and raise them. We will buy all of them. It is not like the scams of the Five Lakes Chamber of Commerce. Can the hospital still make money? If there are too many medicinal herbs, what if the hospital can't sell them? Li Sun was worried that if the output was too large, the hospital would lose money. Otherwise, the hospital would not be able to make a loss. Otherwise, if the income was not enough, the hospital would die. It is not enough. I plan to open Dei Hospital all over the Tang Empire. I don't expect to make money. I just want to maintain the capital. The rich spend more, the poor spend less. For pregnant women, children, and people who have reached a certain age, free medical treatment will be implemented. Chapter 553. When spring warmed up, ice would occasionally float on the surface of the river in Kaifeng. The Zhang family's fleet set sail again after 5 days. The officials, people, and merchants in Kaifeng were very happy. This time, the Zhang family spent more than 30,000 strings of coins. Yes, it was spending. This word came from the Zhang family. The people had extra money to get through the most difficult period. The merchants were also busy buying goods. Naturally, the officials secretly embezzled a small part of the money and used the rest to build roads. They were not stupid. They had discovered the benefits of road construction. In a bustling place, if they spent 100 strings of coins to build a road, they could recoup the cost in 2 years because of the extra money. The road would be considered a political achievement. Some people might leave office soon, while others would stay in the place for who knows how many years. There were also many people who stayed in the place for a lifetime. If one wanted to be promoted, one had to make political achievements, and the other was to build the place well. If someone took a fancy to the place, they would be promoted. When the fleet was rushing to Shuzhou along the canal at the fastest speed, Zhang Xiaobao had already sent someone to go there first. He did not know how the local people would deal with his father. He had to be prepared in advance to avoid being in a disadvantageous position at the beginning of the battle. The weather was still cold, and there was no good scenery along the way. After more than half a month, when the fleet entered the Yangtze River from the canal, it finally ushered in the arrival of willow catkins. The next step was to enter the Yangtze River and go against the current. Fortunately, the Zhang family's fleet did not need any trackers. With both sails and boats, they could directly go against the current. I've decided. As long as we arrive at the place, the first thing we do is to vaccinate the local people with cowpox. The people in the imperial court are worried about this and that, but they haven't started yet. I don't know how many more people will die. Under my rule, I have the final say. What's there to be afraid of if it's a little dangerous? If smallpox really does appear, a village or a county will die. Even if the probability of death during vaccination is 1 in 1,000, I'll accept it. Also, I want to build the house you're building in Luzhou to deliver babies. As for the doctors, I'll hire them from your hospital. Li Sun was enjoying the warmth of the day as he sat on a chair at the bow of the boat. He held a small wine flask in his hand and occasionally took a sip. Seeing the busy people in the river and on the shore, he stood up and said loudly to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. People with money and power were indeed different. When they spoke, they were full of confidence. Li Sun gulped down all the wine in the pot in one go. He opened his arms, appearing to be full of lofty sentiments. When the wind blew, he fell backwards. Not good. Get a doctor here. Zhang Xiaobao, who reacted quickly, supported Li Sun. He looked at Li Sun's face and touched Li Sun's neck. As he gently put Li Sun down, he shouted at the cabin door. When the doctor came, Zhang Xiaobao beat and beat Li Sun. He also kept giving him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. When the doctor came, Li Sun could already blink his eyes. After a round of acupuncture, he finally came back to life. Wang Wan heaved a long sigh of relief. The medical conditions were really bad. Fortunately, Li Sun's illness was not that serious. Otherwise, he would have died. Fortunately, she and Zhang Xiaobao had asked the doctor to research medicine and acupuncture based on heart disease in advance. This was not specially prepared for Li Sun. They were worried that something bad would happen to someone in the family. Li Sun still did not know what was wrong with him. He only remembered that in the end, his vision turned black, and he could not remember anything. How can he have such a disease? I don't know what kind of disease it belongs to. It's so scary. We can't let him drink in the future. We can't let him get too excited. It's just that he fell on our family's boat. If he fell somewhere else, he would definitely die. Zhang Xiaobao was drenched in sweat. It was not because he was tired, but because he was scared. If he really died on our family's boat, then it's troublesome. Will Li Qingyi believe it? What kind of doctor is on the Zhang family's boat? It can't be explained at all. Could it be inherited by Li Shimin's family? It is said that Li Shimin died of a heart attack. Wang Wan was very glad that Li Sun did not fall on his own in the cabin. There was basically no interval between Zhang Xiaobao's CPR. In a few minutes, without the help of any equipment, he would have died. Zhang Xiaobao had a feeling of collapse. Didn't Li Shimin say that it was not inherited? No wonder Li Sun died so early in history. It is most likely because of this disease. Rich people's disease. In the future, his diet will have to be adjusted. It should be low in fat and cholesterol. I don't have the ability to treat this disease. Not to mention that I am not a medical student. Even if I am a medical doctor, I can only watch helplessly. There is a market for ginkgo tea. It seems that Li Sun really can't leave us. Even if we arrange for a doctor to treat him alone, he will not do it. Of course. The doctors we brought with us are definitely not inferior to the imperial physicians in the palace. They might even be better than them. Our diet is also the best. No one can compare to them. The precious experience and wealth left behind by our predecessors is returned to our predecessors. Think of a way to make electricity. Isn't it just magnets and copper wires? We can make them by hand when we were in junior high physics. When he falls down again, we can just electrocute him and install a light bulb to light up the boat. Wang Wan was ready to start making something else. Did you learn about light bulbs in junior high physics? Zhang Xiaobao saw that Wang Wan was getting more and more knowledgeable, so he asked. Wang Wan smiled. No. The vacuum step is not easy to make. In theory, it is simple. We just need to use something to draw out the air. For example, we can use a syringe. The quality is better and the seal is better. The main problem is how to seal the air in a vacuum. We will leave this topic for later. First, we will try to make a hand-cranked generator. Li Sun was finally not called by the King of Hell to have a heart-to-heart talk. During the 2 days of recovery, he had been eating according to the diet that was specially prepared for him on the boat. He also drank ginkgo tea. In fact, he had this problem when he was younger, but it was not serious. It was also because of this that he could play everywhere when he had nothing to do. His family was also afraid that he would die young. After all, his biological parents and adopted parents were all princes. Especially his current father, they did not expect him to do anything big. They just wanted him to live peacefully. When the time came, they would give birth to a few more children to continue the family line. When he reached Tang County, his family would begin to arrange a wife for him. After recuperating for 2 days, Li Sun no longer dared to drink alcohol. Like an obedient child, he would do whatever he was told to do. He could not eat anything too salty. If the blood was sticky, then he would drink melon slices soup. The egg inside was the kind that did not have a hint of yellow. If he was told to eat vinegar-steamed cabbage, then he would eat cabbage. Every night, he could even eat dried vegetables and tofu fish. When he thought about it carefully, the food he ate was not bad. In fact, it tasted pretty good. He ate less every meal and more every day. For the past 2 days, he had not eaten the same food that was good for his body. Li Sun understood that this was only possible because he had met the Zhang family. If it were any other time, even if he was in the imperial palace, he might not be able to keep his life. Not to mention, he had to adjust his diet immediately after he fell ill. All the meals were basically different from before. In the entire Great Tang, only the Zhang family had such ability. Following the Zhang family was equivalent to having an extra life. If the Zhang family could not treat him, then there was no need to count on anyone else. With the Zhang family and the Wang family following him all the way, was there any need to think about the abilities of the doctors on the boat? Who wouldn't leave the best for their own family? Make a copy of this recipe for me. Pack the tea leaves for me too. Use the pigeon of the Zhang family to send the recipe back to the capital. Send the tea leaves and medicine to the military station. I'll write another letter. While Li Sun was enjoying the special treatment as a patient, he did not forget about his family. The members of the imperial family did not have much family affection, but he was an exception. He mainly learned it by following Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan all day long. In Li Sun's impression, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were not very old, but they would think of their family first when they had something good. When Lu Zhou was in Great Tang, the first thing he thought of when he dug up a wild bee's nest in the mountains was to bring it back and cook it for his family. Li Sun was also unconsciously influenced. In terms of food, clothing, housing, and transportation, as long as it was good, he would send it to the capital and his father first. Because of this, although he was not a prince, he was the only one who could write a letter to his family in a normal tone without restrictions. The contents of the letter were very plain. It only briefly mentioned that he had suddenly fallen ill, and then the general treatment method. He didn't forget to promote the recipes for his savior, Zhang Xiaobao. He emphasized that if any official were to fall ill, he could arrange for that official to recuperate at Huayuan County's Yaowang Mountain when he was rewarding them. This was a blatant advertisement. If the imperial uncle rewarded a person with free medical treatment, Yaowang Mountain might be trampled to the ground. That place was not exclusive to the imperial family, and it was not the Huaqing pool where one could go as long as one had money. The cheapest place was just a trip from the capital to Huayuan, and it would only cost about 100 copper coins. If it was expensive, it would be hard to say. The letter was sent out, and the things were sent away. Li Sun began to be forced to do exercises with the people from the Zhang family and Wang family every day. To be precise, it was the 5 animal frolics. After one set, basically every part of his body was trained. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also observed him for 2 days. When they saw that there were no sequelae, they were really relieved. Fortunately, it was not cerebral hemorrhage or cerebral thrombosis. Putting aside whether he could be saved, even if he was lucky enough to survive, he was done for. They could prepare a wheelchair for him. After another 6 days, the fleet that went against the current finally arrived at their destination. This time, unlike Luzhou, where the judges first showed their strength, all the officials who could come had arrived. The appointed provincial governor did not show up. He had no choice but to be arrested. When Zhang Xiaobao saw the appearance of the officials, he knew that the people in Shuzhou were more cunning than Luzhou. In the future, they would have to face more things. The officials had been trained. There were also the merchants who were hiding not far away. They looked lively, but in fact, it was also a kind of demonstration. None of the officials are good. Look at their stomachs. They are obviously different from normal fat people. Normal fat people are a little fat, but their faces and stomachs are big. How do they eat? Wang Wan made a conclusion after glancing at the officials below with her clairvoyant eye. Who said so? Aren't there 2 thin people over there? Look at their official uniforms. They are county magistrates, Zhang Xiaobao said as he pointed at the 2 people standing next to each other in the crowd. Wang Wan pursed her lips. Can't you see from their faces? They are pale with a hint of yellow. Their eyes are wandering, they have dark bags under their eyes, their backs are hunched, and their feet are light. What does this mean? It means that the local tertiary industry is better. Oh, that's fine. We can develop it vigorously in the future. As long as it's not the kind of abduction and coercion, it will be fine. Besides, the women in the brothels are of high quality now. They play a very big role in the process of spreading culture. You support this kind of thing? Who doesn't support this kind of thing? There is competition for the title of courtesan belle. We can have a beauty contest. Those who are capable can choose from all over the world. We just need to be on a small scale. A vulgar place is not necessarily vulgar. Are elegant people elegant? You have to understand the relationship between supply and demand. Since the beginning of human beings until our time, who can stop this phenomenon? Tens of thousands of years of history have not been able to stop this thing. Do you want to rely on manpower to change it? This can be guided, but it can't be stopped. It can never be stopped. Zhang Xiaobao would not advocate the elimination of the red light district. Was that possible? Human nature was there for all to see. On the surface, it was said that people should be eliminated, but what did they do behind the scenes? While Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were talking, Zhang Zhong and Li Sun had already arrived below. The officials were mainly welcoming the 2 of them. In the future, they would be the immediate superiors. The 2 people's governing areas were actually overlapping. Anyone could manage them. When Li Sun was in charge, he could still secretly resist. Then, when he used the same method to deal with Zhang Zhong would have a reason to deal with him. One was a fief, so it depended on Li Sun's methods in the future. The other was a provincial governor, so only the registrar could influence or monitor the military. The others could not. This time, Zhang Xiaobao did not appear. He left everything to his father. When it was time to eat, he ate, and when it was time to drink, he drank. Li Sun was an exception. He could not eat the same dishes as the others, nor could he drink. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not attend. The two of them were thinking about how to arrange for their younger siblings. It had been almost 9 months. The 4 little ones were not satisfied with going back and forth. Wang Wan's oldest sister wanted to go by herself several times. In the 3-story house, she held the wall with her hands and tried to take a step forward with her trembling legs. She raised it high and tried to take a step forward or down. Often, she would fall on the carpet with a plop. After getting up, she would open her eyes wide. It was unknown whether she was wondering why she fell or complaining about the uneven ground. She was very confused. Every time this happened, the maid in charge of guarding would laugh. It was really too cute. When the weather gets hotter, put them outside. Always let them play in the house. The sunlight is short, and the air circulation is not as good as in the wild. Plant some grass and put them on the lawn. There is at least sand below. After seeing the 4 little ones running around, Zhang Xiaobao looked up at the sky and made a decision. It took a full 2 days to walk from the shore to the governor's mansion. The governor's mansion here was built very well. It seemed that the local people were rich. Zhang Zhong and Li Sun were busy with the handover. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to build a special playground. In the courtyard behind the governor's mansion, there was a piece of land about 100 square meters. First, they had people dig deep to dig out the worms and earthworms below. Then, they sprinkled lime. On the other side, they had people adjust the ratio of soil and sand. When the sand and soil were adjusted, they boiled it in a big pot. After the sand and soil were boiled until there were no parasites in it, they put it back. They sprinkled the most suitable grass seeds and watered them with cold water. Those that could grow were kept, and those that could not grow were planted. The entire playground was covered with a sand net, and the surrounding areas were isolated. After all, the children were still wearing open-crotch pants. They could not be hurt. The entrance and exit of the playground were specially set up to bathe. Moreover, the maids had to spray alcohol to disinfect before they could go in. This kind of protection, not to mention other people, even Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan felt that it was too much. However, the two of them had no choice. They had to let their younger brothers and sisters play, but they were also worried that they would die young. Usually, the children would accidentally fall ill in the process of playing. It was not to say that they had an incurable disease, but other aspects. For example, the children liked to put things in their mouth and liked to bite their fingers. These were 2 kinds of instincts. They put things in their mouth because they wanted to get food, and they wanted to bite their fingers because they wanted to exercise their teeth. From ancient times to modern times, this instinct had not been removed. Therefore, they needed to get something for them to eat. It did not matter whether they could eat it or not. For example, carrots and jerky. As long as the maids next to them watched and did not let the children choke when they swallowed, it would be fine. As a result, a 100-square-meter amusement park was born with 1,000 strings of coins. Before it was fully built, the 4 little guys could only be held in the sun. In order to not be directly exposed to ultraviolet rays, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also had people build a shed with tin foil outside. Only the light from the reflection could be received by the younger brothers and sisters. The adults of the 2 families did not know what to say about the 2 people's actions. They were really too spoiled. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's mother often held the 4 little guys and preached to them, who were not yet sensible. When you grow up, you must listen to your brothers and sisters and be good to your brothers and sisters. In this world, you can no longer find children who can enjoy such a good life like you. Not to mention ordinary people, even the children of the royal family can't encounter such a good thing. The adults of the 2 families did think so. From the time the 4 little guys were born, they began to enjoy special treatment. Xiao Bao and Cuckoo put the most energy on the four little guys. Otherwise, how could they be born so smoothly? It was very common for people who gave birth to twins to have both children die, or one of them die. However, the birth of the four children was not difficult at all. In the whole world, they could not find the same brothers and sisters who loved their younger brothers and sisters and had the ability to make all kinds of things for them. How could the four little guys know about this? They were curious about everything except eating and sleeping. When they were held in the arms of others and looked at the birds on the tree in the yard, they could be in a daze. When the birds flew away, they waved their little arms and pointed in the direction the birds left. Their mouths made ah sounds, but no one knew what they wanted to say. Chapter 554. Zhang Zhong was not surprised to hear his son reveal his intentions. He was used to his son and daughter-in-law's abilities. It was no wonder they wanted to stop at Kaifeng to buy seeds and farming tools. They had already calculated what kind of trouble they would encounter when they arrived. "All right, I'll arrange it now." Zhang Zhong gently pinched his son, who was listening to his elder brother and father with wide eyes. He got up and prepared to leave. "Father, there's no rush. If we can delay it for 2 days, we'll do it the normal way. First, we'll get people to secretly transport the seeds and farming tools to the various counties. Father, you can find the merchants who are in charge of these 2 matters and talk to them. Listen to what they have to say. The longer we delay it, the later they will use another plan. I can wait for the other plan to be in place." Zhang Xiaobao saw that his father was about to carry it out immediately, so he quickly stopped him. His arrangements were still lacking, and he was afraid that the locals would immediately use another plan when they saw that the plan had been broken the moment it was brought out. Zhang Zhong thought about it and nodded in agreement. Wasn't it just eating and drinking with the locals and looking at their expressions? It was simple. He wanted to see what they could do. After Zhang Zhong left, Wang Wan curiously approached Zhang Xiaobao. "Xiaobao, how did you know they would do this?" "How would I know? I just prepared for what might happen in advance. It's just a common method. There are only a few methods that local officials can use to make things difficult for officials. When we came here, we were prepared. If they make things difficult for us, we'll send them things. Even if they don't make things difficult for us now, we still have to send them. Not all citizens can use new plows, and not all citizens can plant good seeds. Didn't Li Longji send my father over to raise the rent? Our family will pay for the tools and seeds. We'll give him a satisfactory answer in the name of the Li family. How good would that be? He'll get more rent and a good reputation. My father wants to go to Luoyang next. There are 2 sets of government. The power struggle in Luoyang is not as bloody as in the capital. It's better to get used to it." Zhang Xiaobao explained to Wang Wan, and Wang Wan nodded in understanding. She had thought that Zhang Xiaobao could calculate, but it turned out that he had made arrangements based on historical experience. She dipped some coconut oil and pearl cream into the shell and gently rubbed it on the sides of her siblings' noses and around their mouths. She said, "Be careful when feeding them fruits in the future. Rub it on the sides of their mouths. If you rub it on them again, the skin will burst. Look, it's all red. That's because it's dried under the sun. A small shell costs 100 copper coins. How can the skin be broken? When the imperial court stabilizes the trade route in the north, build a factory there and ship shells from the south. Use the fats from the north to make hand and face guards and sell them back to the north." Zhang Xiaobao changed his little brother's position and gently rocked him to let him sleep. He casually told Wang Wan about a deal. "You can use a piece of tin foil on a wooden box. Why do you have to use shells?" Wang Wan kissed her sister's face and got a series of giggles in response. That's not the same. We sell shells. There is no sea there. Usually, we call places like lakes or bubbles. When using our products, the shells in the sea are a symbol of identity. If it's not convenient to transport the meat back and forth, we can choose a place around the local area to dig a cellar and freeze it. Why do you freeze so much meat? Do you want to hit the market? Wang Wan heard something else from Zhang Xiaobao's words. It has nothing to do with the market. Freeze it. It can still be eaten after 2 or 3 years. It can be preserved longer than canned food. Zhang Xiaobao's eyes looked to the north and pretended to be mysterious as he said. Wang Wan pondered for a while, but still couldn't figure out why Zhang Xiaobao was hoarding meat. She said, "Why don't you make some canned food and sell it? There's not too much technology. The sealing and air pressure are easy to solve. If it really doesn't work, leave a vent. When it's hot, use pliers to pinch it." I found that there are many places where meat is cheap, especially fish. Because of the inconvenience of transportation, the price of meat is too high. Ordinary people can't afford it. If you don't do it, you can't afford it. The rich people can eat it no matter how expensive the meat is. Your method can only be used for the middle class. The poor people still can't eat it. There are no railways and no highways. Transporting a ton of canned food will consume at least 2 tons of food. Even if you transport it by water, what are you going to use to make that kind of scalp? Use iron. If iron is not valuable, there won't be so many wheels made of wood. The iron wrapping around the wheels is also wear resistant. Then don't do it. Find more craftsmen to make kilns. Most people still use wooden bowls. Buckets and water jars are all made of wood. It's not convenient to use them. It's easy to grow bacteria. Why don't you sell the soap we make? We can use it ourselves. Wang Wan estimated the price of iron and gave up on the idea of letting more people eat meat. She changed the topic and asked about another commonly used soap. Zhang Xiaobao put his sleeping brother on the small bed beside him. It's not that we don't want to sell it, but we don't dare to sell it. Glass is not really sold for a lot now. The asking price is very high. Most of the glass is used to make other things that we need, or to give away. If it's you, you won't want to sell it at such a high price, right? Especially that thing can be used to make telescopes. Li Longji is seeking stability now. He has already dealt with all the people who contributed to this project. Even my grandfather, who I have never met before, has been dealt with. If it wasn't for that time, my mother wouldn't have escaped. Oh, now that you mention it, I just remembered that I didn't visit my grandfather's house when I passed by. It's my grandfather's father-in-law's house. It's near the Yangtze River. It's a good place. Meng Mountain Peak Tea, Yangtze River Heart Water. Let's go and take a look. I don't like to drink Meng Mountain tea. I'm not used to drinking black tea. I think the spring water in the middle of the Yangtze River is heavy water. It's water that contains a lot of minerals. If it's mixed with black tea, it will be hard to drink. You still haven't told me what to do with the soap. Wang Wan trembled when she heard about Meng Mountain Peak tea. She had drunk it before, but she had a stomachache every time she drank it. Later on, she refused to drink black tea and only drank green tea. When we have a large pig farm, we can give the recipe to Li Longji. When he starts to make money in the first half of the year, we can follow behind and sell it. This thing is used for daily necessities. The rich people have always used it. Our method is just that the cost of adding things is lower and the production is faster. If we start to mass produce now, many people won't be able to eat lard and pig intestines. The key is the food, or in other words, the pig grass. In the past 2 years in Suzhou, I have been preparing to continue teaching the local people how to raise pigs, ducks, and fish. As long as we succeed this time, the imperial court will spread this method to more places that are suitable for using it. The initial cost will be a problem. Zhang Xiaobao wanted to use his method to influence more people. The current officials could at least do something practical. I think the biggest problem is that the population is too small. As long as there is a disaster or something like that, it will cause a huge impact. With a small population, the productivity won't increase, and the total amount of living resources will be limited. When the social resources are allocated, there will be a gap. It's like many small countries, where the average living standard is high, but once there is a special situation, a few hundred billion can bankrupt the country. When a national disaster occurs, the country will be finished. When the production resources of a large country are complementary, when one area is affected by a disaster, the loss can be transferred to other areas. The larger the population, the smoother the macro situation will be. A few hundred billion won't even make a splash. Wang Wan had her own opinion. Zhang Xiaobao pondered for a moment and felt that it was true. In fact, it was the production technology that was behind, and they could only rely on the number of people to make up for it. Forget it, we will talk about it when my father's position is high enough. Come, let's go learn from Grandpa. Bye. Zhang Xiaobao waved his hand to let the servant girls in to take care of the little ones. He went out with Wang Wan to learn. At this time, Zhang Zhong had also arrived at his destination. Since he took office, he did not have many things to do. His predecessor had left him piles of documents and booklets. If it were someone else, they would have been overwhelmed with work. Unfortunately, this trick was useless on Zhang Zhong. He only needed to call 50 people from the inner court to help him organize and look through them. Lu Zhou's trip was not in vain. The people from the inner court who used to learn theory from him had been trained by Lu Zhou, and they had a good understanding of all aspects. Now, Zhang Zhong was full of confidence. Even if he was given a provincial capital without any officials, he could immediately use the people from the inner court to support all the county yamens. He even had guards and yamen runners who wanted to suppress him with a large number of documents. It was useless. Not to mention the people who were specially trained in this direction, even the side dishes in the kitchen could only snort and say something like, tracing back to the source, Wan Wan at the center of the water. All this was because Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan wanted to build up the foundation of the aristocratic families. Zhang Xiaobao's final request was that the people from the Zhang family and the Wang family who raised pigs could pass the imperial examinations. They were better than the scholars of the same class because they did not know how to raise pigs. This was not difficult for the Zhang family and the Wang family. As long as Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had learned, they would organize them into booklets and explain the difficult points in simple words. They were not like the teachers who pretended to be profound and complicated things that were very simple. The inner courtyard of the two families could discuss with each other. If they encountered something that they did not know, they could ask Madame and Zhang Zhong. There was also Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. If the family did not know, then they could ask Old Man Pai. If the Old Man Pai could not figure it out, Zhang Xiaobao would send a messenger pigeon to ask the Old Man Pai to ask someone else. Old Man Pai was by Go. He had been the Zhuashi and the secretary of the Imperial Secretariat. He had also been the provincial governor of Run Province, Wei Province, Tang Province, Shan Province, and 4 provinces. He had been the chief historian of Yi Province and the imperial censor. He had been the Minister of Appointments and the Governor of Guangzhou. When he came to Sanshui County, he was the Minister of Hunan, the Minister of Revenue, and the Crown Prince Zhan Shi. If he encountered an academic problem that he could not solve, then it would be a big problem. Even Li Longji had to be involved in the imperial court. As long as he encountered a problem that could not be solved, then countless people in the imperial court would have to follow suit and take note of the problem, so that they could teach others in the future. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were good to Old Man Pai. Other than admiring his moral character, they also thought about the academic aspect. The two of them concluded that Old Man Pai was that his existence was a legend. His life was a treasure trove, and he was on the same level as the giant panda. Zhang Xiaobao and the Wang family grew up in this kind of environment. They had already studied for 7 years and had practical experience. Not to mention a mere provincial capital, even if all the officials in Luoyang were dead, all the departments would still operate as usual if the Zhang family's inner courtyard were pulled over. This was true wealth. Because of this, Zhang Zhong felt much more relaxed. Moreover, there were 2 little immortals in his family. Even if the sky collapsed, let alone a banquet at Hongmen, Zhang Zhong believed his 2 families would be able to survive. Provincial Governor Zhang is here. Provincial Governor Zhang is here. Zhang Zhong walked leisurely along the way. There were only 3 people following him. One of them was a page boy, and the other 2 were armed to the teeth. There were only 4 of them, and they did not put on airs. They were far inferior compared to his father-in-law. They were still 200 feet away from the restaurant, but the merchants in the restaurant had already rushed out and greeted them. Each of them had a sincere smile on their faces. Zhang Zhong knew that opponents like these were the most terrifying. They were more than 100 times more powerful than the people Lu Zhou had encountered in the past. A provincial governor had to act like one. Even if they did not take a carriage because it was not far away, they had to show the temperament of a third-grade official. Wei Wei nodded and walked into the restaurant. The people around her followed behind her. The restaurant was called Near the River, but it was actually quite far from the river. It had 3 stories. It was not considered short. If it were an ignorant official, they would be shocked by the bright paint on the restaurant's exterior. Most importantly, there was a platform on the 3rd floor of the restaurant. It was more than 20 feet tall. There was a staircase at the top, and it was possible to set up a table for people to drink. This was Zhang Zhong's first time here as well. The restaurant was renovating a few days ago, and only a platform was installed. There was no need to ask, he knew the price of the dishes and wine would not be cheap. The owner of the restaurant was also accompanying them at the furthest corner. He hoped the new provincial governor would know his strength. Unfortunately, they were facing Zhang Zhong. What did the Zhang family do? It was just a 3-story restaurant with bright paint. Did it think it could soar into the sky with a 20 feet tall platform? If one was ignorant, they should go and have a look between the clouds and the water. It was like a dream. If one were to go and have a look between the clouds and the sea, it would be accompanied by the tide of the sea. In terms of grandeur, it was inferior. It could not move Zhang Zhong's heart, which could already accept little immortal. To Zhang Zhong, the 3-story restaurant in front of him was not as good as the entertainment building of the 4 little ones. In just half a month, Xiaobao and Cuckoo had created a complete set of terrain. There were mountains and rivers, pavilions and reflections, streams, parrots singing and swallows dancing, green grass, waterfalls and rainbows, mushroom treehouses, wind chimes gently ringing, and winding corridors. This was because his son and daughter-in-law were afraid that the mist was not good for the little fellow's health. Otherwise, they would be able to see the scenery of rain and mist. The 4 little fellows did not understand, but the adults did. As long as the place was enlarged and the house was built bigger, it would be another paradise on earth. No matter who saw it, they would be attracted. However, outsiders would not be able to see it at all. According to his son and daughter-in-law, this was the style of an aristocratic family. They were dedicated to their work and did not make it public. Compared with his own restaurant and the children's entertainment building, the three-story near the river restaurant became a vulgar decoration in Zhang Zhong's eyes. Without any words of praise, he led the way in. The owner of the restaurant was the saddest, but he had to serve them carefully. The group went directly to the best platform. The restaurant also made a menu and gave it to them for them to order. It was rare for other restaurants to have such a situation. Usually, it was the waiter who did the talking. After all, some people were illiterate. The menu was pushed in front of Zhang Zhong. A businessman said with a smile, "Sir, please order. As long as you want to eat, you can order it here." "Really? Okay, I will choose 2 light dishes. One is cucumber peeling and the other is vinegar jellyfish. I want vinegar jellyfish that is more than 1 year old. You can order the others." Zhang Zhong did not make things difficult for them. These 2 dishes could be eaten at home, especially the cucumber peeling. He liked the kind with more sesame sauce. It was refreshing. He did not order expensive dishes like bear paw and deer lips. Usually, he could only eat them at home occasionally. His son and daughter-in-law did not allow him to eat more, saying that the fat and cholesterol were too high. He ordered it easily, but the waiter was in a difficult position. There were no such 2 dishes here. He did not know what the peeling was. There were seed jellyfish, but there was no seed jellyfish that was more than 1 year old. It seemed that the seed jellyfish was not just dried. There must be some reason. Seeing the expression on the waiter's face, the businessmen knew what was going on. Among them, a businessman who specialized in making plows immediately mediated. "Provincial governor, why don't you order 2 meat dishes? It's not good to have too many vegetarian dishes." Zhang Zhong also understood. The waiter did not have these 2 dishes. He said it casually and made things difficult for the waiter. Meat dishes were meat dishes, and they were often eaten at home. "Give me wood ear fried meat stewed with monkey head mushrooms. Also, give me a serving of smooth mutton slices." These 2 dishes were usually home-cooked dishes with wood ear in them. It was right to listen to his son and daughter-in-law and eat more wood ear and mushrooms. The waiter was stunned again. There was meat and mutton tenderloin, but he had never heard of such dishes. Where could he get the wood ear and monkey head mushrooms? He had never heard of the monkey head mushrooms, but he knew about the wood ear mushrooms. However, he had not received any wood ear mushrooms at this time. Those things are not available all the time. Provincial governor is provincial governor. He eats different things from others. He specially chooses things that others do not have. He wants whatever is expensive. The waiter thought. How could he know that Provincial Governor Zhang was used to eating at home? If he wanted to eat something special, he had to find the ingredients first. For example, braised tiger steak in brown sauce. He had to leave at least a month to find it. Wasn't it difficult to order such dishes? It was fine as long as they were dishes that could be seen on the table at home every day. He ate honestly and did not want to show off. Well, not show off. "Lord Zhang, I am late. Please forgive me." Just as the waiter was in a dilemma, another person came in from outside. It was the military registrar of Shuzhou. He was in charge of the soldiers and was also responsible for monitoring the provincial governor. Zhang Zhong did not expect that the military registrar could also come. This was not right. Why was he late? His position as provincial governor was the highest. In Shuzhou, no one was qualified to make him wait except for the county prince Li Sun. Moreover, Li Sun would not be like this. He always treated him with the etiquette of a junior. Therefore, Zhang Zhong only nodded slightly and did not say anything. He knew about this matter. The military registrar also knew that Zhang Zhong was not satisfied. He smiled and asked the person on Zhang Zhong's left to sit somewhere else. He said to Zhang Zhong, "Sir, I just heard about this matter. I was busy deploying the soldiers. I am afraid that there will be too much rain this year. I hope you can forgive me." Since the military registrar had apologized, Zhang Zhong could not continue to treat him with a cold face. He said, "It doesn't matter. Everything is for the sake of the people. Can you cook the dishes?" The latter words were naturally for the waiter. The waiter's signature smile had already changed. Could he cook the dishes? He didn't even know what they were. How could he cook them? The military registrar looked at the waiter's face. Before he could ask, someone beside him whispered the 4 dishes just now. He immediately understood and said, "Just cook the dishes." "How dare you ask Lord Zhang to tell you the names of the dishes? Have you eaten a bear's heart and swallowed a leopard's gall? In Lord Zhang's house, there are countless restaurants between the clouds and the water. Is it a place where you can easily answer correctly? These 4 dishes are all Lord Zhang's usual dishes at home. Why don't you hurry up?" Zhang Zhong was a little surprised. He did not expect that the military registrar knew him so well. It was true. He nodded to the waiter. Chapter 555. Zhang Zhong was not picky about the food at all. He could eat anything. Anyway, he would not eat too much. His main purpose was to see what the merchants thought. The county magistrate said that the government lacked seeds and farming tools. The merchants in charge of seeds and farming tools were also contacted by the county magistrate. Zhang Zhong wanted to know how the officials and merchants in Shuzhou would treat him. The cold dishes were served first. Needless to say, this place was really something. There were actually cucumbers and spinach. Shuzhou was south of the Yellow River, but it was not to the point where there were fresh vegetables at this time. It was unknown whether the people here grew them themselves or bought them from outside. Being able to eat a mouthful of cucumbers with a strong fragrance in spring was something that many people did not dare to think about in their lifetime. As soon as the cucumbers were served, they each reached out their chopsticks and ate a lot. When Zhang Zhong ate it, Wei Wei nodded and said, "It's okay. There are only a little salt, garlic, and cucumbers. You don't learn from others who put this and that. It's extraordinary in its simplicity. Eat as much as you like, Your Excellency." "Your Excellency, since you came to Shuzhou, we don't know why, but it's easy for us to do business. This shows your ability." A merchant sitting on the far right side of Zhang Zhong took the opportunity to flatter Zhang Zhong. Zhang Zhong had learned how to deal with it in the past few years. If it were in the past, he would be businesslike and take other people's words seriously. Today, he would not think so anymore. After listening to the merchant's flattery, he narrowed his eyes with a smile and said, "Well, I don't ask for too much. As long as the tiller has his own field and the dweller has his own house, I will be worthy of the emperor's kindness and the common people." It was obvious that this boast was impossible, but the merchant still praised Zhang Zhong one after another. On the other hand, the military secretary did not speak much. He just stood there and watched others flatter Zhang Zhong. As they ate, half an hour passed. Zhang Zhong was still chatting with the crowd, but the merchants were starting to lose their patience. Today, they had come with a purpose. They were waiting for Zhang Zhong to discuss with them about the seeds and farming tools, so that they could make a lot of money. Moreover, they could push the blame to Zhang Zhong. They didn't believe that the people didn't lack seeds and farming tools. Before Zhang Zhong arrived, the county magistrates had taken away the seeds and farming tools from the people with the excuse that there would be new seeds and farming tools this year. If he wanted to plow in spring, he would have to buy them again. He couldn't keep his own seeds and think of ways to make his own farming tools like before. The method was simple. The manor had left some money, but this money had to be sent to the capital. It hadn't been sent yet. They wanted to see if Zhang Zhong would use this money to buy seeds and farming tools. If he used it, they would have something against him. If he didn't use it, and Zhang Zhong took the money himself, they would ask for more money and sell the seeds by the seed. It was impossible for the commoners to buy seeds and farming tools. Although they had said at the beginning that they would trade, it was still a trade. If they used bad seeds and farming tools to trade for good ones, they would need to add more money, and they would have to decide how much to add. If the common people delayed the spring plowing, then Zhang Zhong would definitely not be able to escape. The first one to be dealt with would be him. He didn't just come here. He had been here for half a month. Every day, he was invited to drink or travel. After such a long time, he still didn't understand the common people's affairs. If they didn't deal with him, who would they deal with? It was because of this confidence that the merchants thought that Zhang Zhong would compromise with them and not interfere in their affairs in the future. However, Zhang Zhong didn't mention it at all. He looked harmless. When others talked, he also talked about the topic. He didn't talk about seeds and farming tools at all. Finally, a merchant couldn't help but change the topic. He said, "Provincial governor, with you in Shuzhou, it will be more prosperous in the future. The common people will be grateful to you. The spring plowing is coming soon. I think Lord Zhang, I am doing something for the imperial court. You can't be grateful to me alone. It is my honor to let the common people live a good life. What fish are there in the river here?" Before the merchant could speak, Zhang Zhong took over the conversation and changed the topic again. This time, not only were the merchants stunned, but even the military registrar found that something was wrong. Zhang Zhong clearly didn't mention seeds and farming tools on purpose. Everyone had prepared all kinds of excuses for the price of seeds and farming tools, but they couldn't find a chance to say them. When they were ready to punch someone, they found that there was nothing in front of them. That was the feeling in everyone's heart. They had the strength but couldn't use it. The military registrar had to say something to help. "Governor Zhang, recently, a few soldiers in the barracks have been causing trouble, saying that they want to go home and farm. They also want money, but it's not time for them to be paid, so we can't pay them. I heard that the commoners don't have any seeds or farming tools. Governor Zhang, you have to think of a way." "Oh. I see." Zhang Zhong's expression didn't change at all. Just like when he talked about the food just now, he casually agreed. This was troublesome. The merchants and the military registrar realized that Zhang Zhong was not easy to deal with. They couldn't see what he was thinking. At this time, he didn't look anxious. "Sir, if you need seeds and farming tools, we have some, but, okay. I understand. If I need them, I will come to you. Do you know a good place to fish? I have countless fishing poles at home. I am worried that I can't find a good place." Once again, Zhang Zhong listened to the merchant's words and talked about fishing. The merchants had no choice but to follow Zhang Zhong's words. The military registrar's forehead was sweating. If it was someone else, he wouldn't be like this. He would think that a provincial governor who didn't know anything and only knew how to play had come. But Zhang Zhong was obviously not that kind of official. He was the top scorer, which could be seen from the events of the past few years. Wherever he went, it would immediately change. Even Lingnan, that poor place, now had the people of the imperial court breaking their heads to fill it with their own people. From this, it could be seen that Zhang Zhong was not an incompetent official. He was very capable. No, this was not right. Today's matter was definitely not simple. What went wrong? While Zhang Zhong was happily telling the merchants the tricks of fishing, the military registrar was thinking about something alone. He thought about the ability of the Zhang family, the situation that Zhang Zhong encountered when he was promoted step by step, and finally, he thought about the 4 judges of Luzhou, the people who were killed and the officials who were locked up, and the Ning family in Qinzhou. The military registrar suddenly felt his heart tighten. This was bad. Zhang Zhong must have found out something. At that time, he felt that he couldn't use such a simple method to deal with Zhang Zhong. The merchants and the military registrar were worried. In the next room, a few people were also worried. They were the people sent by the county magistrates to check on Zhang Zhong. They wanted to know how Zhang Zhong would respond in the end. From the 2 hours of conversation, they could see that Zhang Zhong had other tricks up his sleeve. They were not afraid of him being anxious or angry. They were afraid that he would talk about everything as if nothing had happened. This is difficult. If I had known, I would have given him money, a person who seemed to be an advisor said anxiously as he rubbed his hands. Next to him, a person wearing a silk headscarf and holding a feather fan gently waved his fan a few times. He disagreed. Give him money. How much money can he bribe Zhang Zhong? Didn't you see the pendant under his goldfish bag? It's a 5-colored tortoise turtle. I've never seen a 5-colored tortoise turtle in my life. It hit the table leg with a loud bang just now, but Zhang Zhong didn't even look at it. As soon as he finished speaking, the others fell silent. The Zhang family had a lot of businesses and accounts. No one knew how much money they had. The main thing was that they had something called shares between each of their businesses. They also worked with many influential officials and merchants to do business together. Not knowing how much money they had didn't mean that they didn't know Zhang Zhong was rich. As long as he wanted to use it, he would give out money in the tens of thousands. It wasn't tens of thousands, but tens of thousands of coins. Bribery. Selling the entire Shuzhou might be able to tempt him. Just like a hedgehog, there were thorns all over its body, and there was nowhere to bite. If there's no other way, just find him a few difficult cases. Don't use other tricks. It's useless. Delay as long as you can. Or if he becomes the provincial governor in Shuzhou, you can change the previous method and pay taxes properly. He can't stay in Shuzhou forever. Hurry up and take him away. The advisor who spoke just now thought of a method. Everyone knew that if they really followed this method, they could indeed transfer Zhang Zhong to another place. The problem was that the masters wouldn't agree. In that case, they would lose a lot of money during this period. While they were anxious and sweating, Zhang Zhong was full. He originally planned to eat a few mouthfuls and continue eating when he got home. He didn't expect that the food would taste better when he was in a good mood. The feeling of being in control of everything was so comfortable. Looking at the merchants in front of him and the military officer in charge who didn't mean what they said, Zhang Zhong thought of a cat teasing a mouse. The strategy was good, but it was a pity that it shouldn't be used on him. After all, he had a good son. This was the feeling of being alone and defeated in the stories that the son and daughter-in-law told to their parents. The feeling of having no opponent was lonely. Zhang Zhong drank some wine. When he was thinking about things, he was floating in the air. The others didn't know what Zhang Zhong was thinking. Otherwise, they would be mad. The officials and merchants of Shuzhou were indeed more powerful than Luzhou. If it were Luzhou's people, they would not know what to do. They might just break the pot. However, the officials of Shuzhou would not. Once the plan failed, they would immediately find a way to cover up this matter. The merchants looked at each other and said to Zhang Zhong, "Lord Provincial Governor, we actually have a presumptuous request. We want to offer the seeds and farming tools so that the local people can have faster spring plowing. We hope you can take the lead." A merchant said to Zhang Zhong with a sincere face. This was a last resort. Since they couldn't do it, they had to pay the price. Otherwise, if Zhang Zhong fought back, it would be troublesome. Chapter 556. The meal lasted a full 4 hours. Zhang Zhong's harvest was not small. He had all the seeds and new farming tools for this year's spring plowing. The seeds and farming tools he brought with him could be used to replenish his own. As soon as he returned home, Zhang Zhong told his son about the matter. Zhang Xiaobao also did not expect that the opponent he was about to face would be so difficult to deal with. Sometimes, forbearance was better than attacking. There was no one who could not endure to achieve great things. Zhang Xiaobao was not worried that the other party would play tricks. It was difficult for him to make a reasonable choice between helping his father and not helping his father. He wanted his father to learn more tricks, but he also did not want to see his father being bullied. In a situation where he could not find a good solution, Zhang Xiaobao asked his father to interact more with the old man Pai. Although the old man Pai was not willing to talk to his father, he would grind him down every day. In the end, he would be able to grind out knowledge, the knowledge to be an official. Wang Wan also understood. It was not that the old man Pai was prejudiced against Zhang Zhong. It was all because the old man Pai felt that the Zhang family had an expert in charge. If he insisted on teaching Zhang Zhong, he would be suspected of showing off. Zhang Zhong saw that his son and daughter-in-law were not in a hurry, so he was not in a hurry. He ate too much and prepared to eat the sancha pills and lie down for a while. After Zhang Zhong left, Zhang Xiaobao began to make toys for his younger brothers and sisters again. He said, "Just a little bit more, just move the card slot back. Is it really useful to make this toy? I don't know if the merchants and officials are locals. If our family is not prepared, would they really dare to let the people delay the spring plowing? I always feel that political struggles are political struggles. Do not take the initiative to affect the lives of the people." Wang Wan used the grinding wheel to lightly hit the small copper piece in Zhang Xiaobao's hand and said unhappily, "If people are crazy, they can do anything. Okay, it's about time. Shout." As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he put the copper piece into the toy and shouted, "Ah!" at the mouth of the toy. A small figure popped out in front of the toy, and it was still trembling. The first time he used a copper wire to pull a spring, he used it on a toy. It could only be used on toys and accessories. If it was too big, the elasticity would not be good. The toy that the two of them made was for the younger brother and sister to shout. As long as the younger brother shouted, the little person's card slot would be released through the vibrating spring, and the little person would pop out. In addition to this kind of toy, there was also a bubble-blowing toy. The purpose of the two toys was to let the little guys talk earlier. A very well-behaved baby who rarely cried would definitely talk very late. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan couldn't let their younger siblings cry for no reason. If they wanted them to laugh, they had to have the intention of laughing first. Using toys to exercise the vocal cords, lung capacity, and breath control. The idea was good, but the process was difficult. After the two of them took the new toy to find their younger siblings, the four little guys were attracted after the demonstration. Every time the little person popped out, they would let out a giggle, but they just didn't shout at that place. Their small hands vigorously reached for the toy, and when it was sent to their hands, they would put it in their mouth and bite it. The maidservants guided them over and over again, or slightly fought over the toys. When they fought over the toys, they would follow Zhang Xiaobao's instructions and make "ah" sounds. After 2 days, they finally succeeded in taking a small step forward. When they needed something, they would point at something and make "ah" sounds. Xiaobao, with the current training method, do you think they will not talk in the future? There will always be sounds. Wang Wan was a little worried. No, it's just training the vocal cords now. When the time comes, they will be able to adjust themselves. It's like many children who just learn to speak and call someone mother. The maids are tired and always have to repeat the same words over and over again to deepen the children's impression. Fortunately, there are 4 of them. If there were only 2, they would have to find other playmates to play with and introduce a competitive mechanism. Zhang Xiaobao looked forward to his younger siblings growing up quickly and supporting the family. Or, under unintentional guidance, they would find something they liked to develop. After the people of Shuzhou got new farming tools and didn't have to worry about seeds, they began to work hard. They didn't care about the schemes of the officials above, as long as they didn't delay the spring plowing. Li Sun finally had his own place, which overlapped with the land under Zhang Zhong's jurisdiction. In fact, he didn't have much management power. He was more dependent on the rent tax of Shuzhou, which was only a part of it. He could draw a large piece of land for people to farm, and it was the rent-free kind. He was anxious these days, hoping that the people would finish the spring plowing soon. Then, he would pay for the roads and build scenic spots in the mountains, lakes, and rivers. This was not just for the sake of making money. Whether or not they could make money was another matter altogether. The main purpose was to increase the local people's sense of pride by building scenic spots. Every scenic spot had to have a legend, so as to foster the cohesion of the people. When he was in Luzhou, he had seen the strength of the people when they worked together to build a home. He wanted to do the same in Shuzhou. Now, he had already sent people to gather the people and use collective labor to complete the spring plowing. This made the local officials and rich families suffer. They had the most idle people. In the past, they only needed to farm their own land. Now, it was different. They had to farm other lands as well. In the entire Shuzhou, other than Zhang Zhong, the provincial governor, the one with the most authority was Li Sun. He didn't care whether others felt good or not. They had to do according to his requirements. He didn't even care about the meals. He was only responsible for the meals of the ordinary people. Some of the officials and rich families had bad tempers. Why did they have to send people from their families? Some smart people obediently sent people over, and then secretly incited the anger of others, getting people to impeach and complain. A month after the spring plowing, the complaints and impeachment reports were finally sent to Luoyang. Looking at the contents, it could be said that it was sad and made people cry. It was as though if Li Sun was not dealt with, the heavens would be angry and people would complain. The Luoyang manor could not do anything about it. They could only continue to send the items to the capital. The officials in the imperial court saw it and did not give any instructions. They sent it up layer by layer to Ziwei province. A few officials looked at it and sent it to Li Longji. If it were someone else, they would have impeached him. From the letters and memorials, it could be seen that Li Sun had gone overboard. Those who did not know the details would definitely be angry. The main reason was that the people who wrote the letters and memorials wanted to make themselves feel more wronged. They actually wrote that Li Sun had sent people to their houses to search for money. If they didn't have money, they would search for valuables. If it were the crown prince, everyone could believe it. After all, the manor had a lot of expenses. They could make some money by bullying others. However, no one believed Li Sun. How much money did Li Sun have? Why would someone like that search the houses of officials? That could only mean one thing. The wealth of the officials made Li Sun jealous. But the problem was, where did the officials get the money? Li Sun had taken out 100,000 strings of cash to build the canal. He had taken it without hesitation. If he really wanted to, it wouldn't have been 100,000 strings of cash. The first person he would investigate was not Li Sun, but the local officials. Li Longji read the memorials and chuckled. He's not stable anywhere. Back then, I sent him to Tongan to spend money. I didn't expect him to offend someone. Don't you think so, Guamping? It's not right to use power to suppress others. Why don't you write a letter to warn him, Your Majesty, to prevent a disaster from happening? If it were someone else, Song Jing would not have said this. He would definitely have done it. However, it was Li Sun. He found it difficult to deal with him. Li Sun's actions were not reliable, but Li Sun was truly devoted to the people. With Song Jing's words, the matter was settled. Li Longji really did send out a decree to warn Li Sun. Before the decree arrived, the news had already spread to Shuzhou. The local officials and rich families who were bullied in Shuzhou did not know what the decree was about. They thought that it would remove Li Sun from the title of commandery prince or give him a new place. Therefore, they endured and waited for the decree to arrive in Shuzhou. But there was no end to this wait. Before they could wait for the decree to arrive, the spring plowing was over. Li Sun immediately returned their people to their families and immediately organized people to build the road. He paid for it himself. No one could find fault with this matter. After all, this was Li Sun's fief. Why would he need to tell others when he was building his own fief? He paid for the people to work. The rich families did not want them, nor did the families of the officials. Naturally, they would not be paid. Regarding this matter, Li Sun also wrote a letter and directly sent it to the capital with a pigeon. The second decree from the capital was also issued. It was very fast. Now that everyone had learned to use pigeons, the capital arrived in Luoyang in less than a day. Luoyang quickly sent the decree over. The first reprimanding decree was still spinning in the heart of the Yangtze River. The second decree was a reward. It praised Li Sun and asked him to continue. As such, the local officials and rich families understood that they had been cheated by the uncle and nephew of the Li family. There was no way for them to reason with. During this time, Zhang Zhong did not encounter any difficulties. Everyone was very cooperative, as if they were really harmonious. At this rate, the tax paid this year would definitely exceed 150,000 strings of coins. Moreover, the honey here was not bad, and the fishing industry along the river was prosperous. It was too smooth, making Zhang Zhong feel that something was wrong. He could only look for Old Man Pai. His son and daughter-in-law were busy. The 4 children could speak. Father and mother could speak as soon as they opened their mouths. The most proficient were the older brother and sister. The son of the Wang family could actually walk a few steps by himself. Naturally, he could not disturb them. There was still the powerful Old Man Pai, who had crossed more bridges than other people. When Zhang Zhong arrived at the courtyard where the Old Man Pai's family lived, the Old Man Pai was packing his luggage. When he saw Zhang Zhong arrive, he happily said, "Coincidentally, Yicheng is here. Lend me 2 boats. Also, give me a few of your family's doctors. I'm going to pick someone up. Oh, you don't have to worry about this year's tax. I'll give you a portion, and it will be enough for you to complete your task. If you have time, look at how the local area makes money. Everything will naturally become clear." Old Man Pai appeared to be very anxious. After throwing down these words, he set off with a few guards. From here to the Yangtze River's pier, there were only 2 small rivers. One needed to change boats to get onto a large boat. The Zhang family always had 4 boats docked here in case of emergency. Chapter 557. When he did not know what the officials and rich merchants in Shuzhou wanted to do, Zhang Zhong put his energy into government affairs. The struggle was just a distraction. What he really needed to do was to bring benefits to the people. Li Sun pulled a portion of the commoners to build roads, scenic spots, and waterways. Zhang Zhong used his status as the provincial governor and Li Sun's status as the county prince to vouch for the commoners. They borrowed money from the commoners to implement three-dimensional farming. Compared to the people in Luzhou, the people in Shuzhou had a much better life. After all, there was only one middle county here, and the rest were all upper counties. There was no such thing as working hard and starving. It was just that they could not eat meat often. There was nothing they could do about it. Even in the whole Great Tang, there were only a few places where ordinary people could eat meat as they wished, let alone them. Now, there were only 3 places that could be confirmed: Sanshui County, some counties in Yaozhou, and Luzhou. Zhang Zhong's name was written on the back of each place. Therefore, when Zhang Zhong first arrived in Shuzhou, the people did not know the situation. After a while, the people learned who Zhang Zhong was through various channels. They immediately changed their attitude and were very cooperative. The people were not stupid. There were 2 kinds of people who judged the wealth of the officials. One was a very poor official, so the people could rest assured. If the official was poor, it meant that he was not greedy. The other was a rich official, such as Zhang Zhong, who came from a rich family, would not be greedy, especially when he knew that his family was in business. The most frightening thing was that his family was rich and did not have any business. It would be troublesome if he met such an official. With Zhang Zhong and Li Sun's guarantee, the commoners came over to draw and choose a project. The commoners who lived near rivers or lakes chose to rear pigs, ducks, and ponds. Those who did not have such conditions chose to rear pigs, chickens, crabs, and rice. If they did not even have rice and only had mountainous areas, they would use fruit trees or mulberry trees to rear forest frogs. The Zhang family and Li Sun were responsible for the recycling, and the Zhang family was also responsible for providing the technology. This was not a technology that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan came up with. They only provided an idea, and the Zhang family and the Wang family figured it out after several years of experiments. If it were any other aristocratic family or businessman, they would definitely selfishly keep the technology. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had already helped their family get through the most difficult days, so they didn't care about the technology and money that they were keeping. Other than the industrial technology that they were afraid of being leaked and stolen by others, almost all of the agricultural technology had been made public. Only the technology of hatching chickens and planting fungus was still kept. Among them, the technology of hatching chickens was also ready to be made public. When more people were willing to raise chickens, the technology of hatching poultry would be more important. Fungus was a luxury, so there was no need to tell others. Ordinary people did not have spare money to eat fungus, so it was fine if they didn't have it. The people took the money and the technology to catch pigs and started to buy the poultry hatched by the Zhang family. None of them knew if they would succeed. If it weren't for the 2 big shots guarantees and Zhang Zhong's reputation, they really wouldn't dare to try. In order to make the people feel at ease, the Zhang family and the Wang family also sent people from the inner courtyard to guide them. There would be a technician in every village. If there was something that they did not understand, they could look for him. If this was the first time Zhang Zhong and Li Sun became officials, and the first time they went to a place to do things for the people, the officials in Shuzhou might have the idea of watching the bustle, and the surrounding provinces were the same. However, it was not the first time the 2 of them came out. They had a lot of halos, so no one thought that the technology they showed was not successful. There were not many bad officials in the Tang Empire now. This ratio was calculated according to the time of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. When the officials in Luzhou, Shuzhou, and the counties near Shuzhou saw Zhang Zhong take action, they immediately sent people to learn. This was not a new idea. Before Zhang Zhong took office, they already had this idea. They did not want to be like Qinzhou, who foolishly insisted on doing things. If they could learn something, they would learn it. The surrounding terrain was similar. As long as they could do it in Shuzhou, they could do it in Shuzhou. As a result, a place was set up in the nearest county and a test site was set up according to the 3 patterns. From time to time, people were sent to the same place in Shuzhou to secretly learn. If they were successful, they could do the same next year. Needless to say, those who sincerely cared for the people would be able to live a good life after learning it. Even if the officials wanted to be greedy, they would also support them. Greed could only be done if they had money. The richer the people were, the more they would be greedy. If the people were begging, who would they be greedy for? After a period of busy work, it was already midsummer. The 4 little guys were already 1 year old. They could run and jog, and they would work hard to walk with their short legs. The most common action they would do was to walk, and if they didn't walk properly, they would sit on the ground with their buttocks. If the old people or adults were not careful, they could easily break their bones. However, the little ones were not affected at all. They were short. When they sat on the ground, they forgot to walk and randomly picked up something to play with. Under the efforts of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, they could already speak more than 5 words. They could recognize many kinds of objects. If they wanted something, they had to think hard about the name of the object. If they could not think of it, they would cry. Their curiosity was stronger. In fact, they were curious before, but they could not walk and could only crawl. It was difficult to go from one place to another. In the process of crawling, they had to turn again when they saw something else. Now, it was different. When they were curious about something, they could run over and see it. If a butterfly or a dragonfly landed, they could see it from a distance. Then, they would run over and stretch out their little hands to take it. Yes, take it. The little guys thought that everything that could be taken belonged to them. In the end, the dragonfly and butterfly flew away. The little guys were stunned. They raised their heads to look at the direction the butterfly and dragonfly flew, and then looked at the flowers and grass where the 2 stopped. They were lost in thought. No one knew what they were thinking. Cold melon, Zhang Xiaobao held Wang Wan's younger brother in his arms and held a picture in his hand and said to him, Cucumber. Wang Wan's younger brother looked at the picture and then at Zhang Xiaobao and said, Cold melon, drink Anhan, not drink Huang, cold melon. Cucumber. So stupid. Didn't you say it was good yesterday? You forgot again. What is it? Cold melon. Right, why did you say it wrong just now? Are you stupid? You are stupid. I want to eat cucumber. Oh, then you should have said it earlier. Next time, remember to finish your words. Bring me a cucumber and peel the skin. Zhang Xiaobao was very happy that he could be refuted. This showed that the little guy's intelligence was higher. See, as long as there is something that can attract them, it can make them use their brains more. If it weren't for the fear that they would develop bad habits, would teach them to scold people now. Zhang Xiaobao took the picture away and said to Wang Wan, who was squatting next to another little guy, to look at the ants. I have never heard that scolding people can train intelligence. Don't touch it, be careful that it crawls on your body. Wang Wan grabbed Zhang Xiaobao's younger brother's hand. Zhang Xiaobao also brought Wang Wan's younger brother over to look at them and move the insects with satisfaction. He personally pinched an ant and put it on his younger brother's hand. Don't worry, just touch it. This kind of ant can't cause any harm to people. Even if you eat it, it's fine. I often ate it when I was a child. Of course, it's useful to scold people. Scolding people is a very emotional behavior. Whether it's laughing or scolding, it's more emotional than usual. When children feel emotions, they will imitate this kind of emotion, which has a great effect on training the brain. Therefore, children generally learn to scold people faster. Oh, there's such a saying. This is the first time I've heard of it. Quickly throw the insect away. What do you want to do with it? Wang Wan hit the insect that Zhang Xiaobao's younger brother had just caught. Eat. Zhang Xiaobao's younger brother looked very wronged. He pinched the ant with one hand and wanted to take the insect with the other. Zhang Xiaobao saw that Wang Wan was going to hit the insect again and hurriedly stopped her. Just watch the child and don't put the insect into his mouth. Isn't this like treating the insect as an ant? You have to understand it from the child's point of view. If you interrupt, there will be two consequences. One is that the child still wants to feed the insect to the ant and continues the original action. The other is that he gives up. If you continuously interrupted the child, the consequence would be that the child would no longer want to feed the ants. In other words, the child would have one less research direction. What you dispelled was the child's curiosity towards the unknown. Without curiosity, how could a person delve into it? The real way to educate children is to adopt a guiding and understanding method, not an experiential inconvenient method. For example, when children play with mud, many adults will directly tell them that it's dirty and they can't play with it. In fact, the most fundamental reason is not that. The adults are worried about it. What's there to be afraid of if it's dirty? Afraid of eating it? Can't you watch from the side? My idea is that when a person is not prepared to bear the responsibility of raising a new life, then don't have children. Of course, in today's world, having children is sometimes passive. In the past, I have seen it more than once. There were children who reached out to grab the food when they were being fed by the adults. The adults restricted the children's movements and told the children not to use their hands. Such adults don't understand that the children don't necessarily want to eat with their hands. They just want to feel what the rice looks like. This has led to a result. Many children, if you ask them what the rice looks like, they will say that it's fragrant, oval-shaped, and white. They will not say that it's soft or sticky. If everything has to be done like this, how many talented children do you think will be killed? Wang Wan was confused. She didn't expect that her action of hitting the insect would be changed to killing geniuses by Zhang Xiaobao. This time, she didn't stop Zhang Xiaobao's younger brother from taking the insect as an ant, even if the ant in his hand didn't eat it. You have a lot of crooked ideas. If you feed it now, the ant won't eat it. What should we do? Then find a way to let him see how ants eat. Catch more ants and put them in a glass jar. Cover it with a layer of sand and throw the insects in for the ants to eat. When they eat, look at it with a magnifying glass. Zhang Xiaobao immediately came up with a solution. Then he can understand how ants eat. Wang Wan argued. No, but he may be interested in the magnifying glass or the glass jar. It's better than being an obedient child with no interests. I'm not afraid of trouble. We have professionals at home to take care of children. We don't need to raise them to be good children who don't move and don't make trouble for the adults. Chapter 558. In this era, no one could compare with Zhang Xiaobao when it came to educating children. When they ate that day, they really steamed insects. They specially left a few for the younger brother to feed the ants. They even let the younger brother take a bite of an unprocessed green insect. As a result, the little fellow no longer put the insects they found outside into his mouth. In the afternoon, they found insects and gave them to the servant girl, which meant that they would cook them for him. They also made a glass jar and threw a small nest of ants into it. They were not afraid of them running out with a lid. As Zhang Xiaobao said, the little fellow lost interest in the ants after a while. Instead, she became curious about the magnifying glass and held it in her hand to shine around. When she shone it on her sister's face, she was shocked by her sister's curious big eyes. Since the younger brothers and sisters could run, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan began to think of ways to train them. They could not be like the two of them in the past. That would cause trouble. They made a few balls for them to play with. They also prepared some slightly heavy toys. If the children wanted to play with them, they had to exert themselves. If they were tired, they would not play with them. It's hot. We can let them learn to swim. Throw a few more life buoys sewn with pig bubbles into the water. The temperature of the water needs to be adjusted. Let them play in it. Also, throw in the ducks and fish made of wood. When Zhang Xiaobao got up in the morning and saw the four little guys sleeping in the shade after eating, he adjusted their jackets and said. The purpose of wearing jackets was not to look good, but to block the navel. This was the place where nutrients were transmitted. It was easy to get sick when it was cold. Wang Wan took 2 books and gave one to Zhang Xiaobao. When she found a place to sit down and was ready to read, she said, "Aren't you afraid that they will choke on the water? Shallow water. Even if they sit in the pool, they can still show their heads." Zhang Xiaobao took the book and read it. It turned out to be the notes from last year's imperial examination. He suddenly felt a headache. Then why do we need a life buoy? Let them know what it's like to climb on a life buoy and experience the buoyancy for themselves. Perhaps there's no need to teach them. They'll know how to swim by themselves in a few days. Right now, they don't know how to be afraid like when they grow up. Zhang Xiaobao explained and began to read the book. In the past, the questions from the imperial examinations could be collected by others, but the good answers could not be found. These were brought out by people from Beijing. Some were directly placed there, and some were looked at by others with comments. These were very useful to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. From the fact that the rice seedlings had not yet formed ears, it was obvious that this year's harvest would not be small. There was no need to worry about rent. Zhang Zhong then thought about the tax collected from the people who were selling the condoms after the end of the year. He estimated that the tax collected would also increase by a lot. His mission here could be considered completed. He estimated that after 2 years, he would be able to move to another place. After that, he would be free. If it were other provincial governors, they would think of ways to have fun. They would have a small banquet every 3 days or a big banquet every 5 days. Or they would go hunting and send benefits to the higher-ups. Zhang Zhong did not have this kind of hobby. He did not need to care about giving gifts. He would either read the book or see the children. In the end, when he was really bored, he would go out for a stroll after breakfast every day. He would bring along his bodyguards and go from place to place. He would see the lives of the people, look at the goods in the market, and admire the scenery of Suzhou. After visiting the nearby places, Zhang Zhong wanted to go further away. When that day came, he would not be able to come back. Traveling on the road that had not been repaired yet, it would take half a month to travel from the magistrate's office to the furthest riverside. Zhang Zhong did not plan to not go home for so many days. He wanted to go to Lake Tai, which was 3 to 4 days away, to take a look. He asked people to set up the carriage and bring along more bodyguards. After informing his family, he headed towards Lake Tai unhurriedly. As for the matters in the prefecture, he left it to the people in the inner courtyard to manage. The procession walked leisurely, looking at the scenery and tasting tea. It was already night time, and they were in the middle of nowhere. Other officials might feel uncomfortable because of this, but Zhang Zhong did not feel the same way. They found an open space and set up their tents. The chefs began to cook for everyone. The 3 chefs did not cook for Zhang Zhong. They all knew that even if they cooked a small stir-fry, Zhang Zhong would not eat it. He had to eat with everyone. It was not that he deliberately wanted to get closer to the people in the inner courtyard. Zhang Zhong had already treated the villagers and the people in the inner courtyard as his family. It was more comfortable to eat with family members. After a day's journey, they did not eat any stir-fried dishes. The chefs also followed suit. They directly asked the 3 chefs to cook a stew and a big pot of rice. Everyone ate with the rice. There were dry and watery dishes. It was very lively. Zhang Zhong ate a lot and walked around the tent. There were 2 bodyguards and a little boy following him. The little boy was a villager from Zhuangzi, which was the first village of the Zhang family. He usually studied in the Jinjia Academy. When he heard that he could follow the master of the family, he applied to come here. Although he had left the academy, he had learned a lot. It was much better to follow Zhang Zhong than in the academy. The knowledge that he could learn in the academy could also be learned by Zhang Zhong. At the same time, he could also broaden his horizons by going outside. Zhang Tong, you are 16 this year, right? Zhang Zhong suddenly stopped walking and looked at the starry sky. He asked the little boy. The little boy nodded and replied, "Yes, master. Your memory is very accurate. Study hard this year. Next year, before I leave Shuzhou, take off your status and take the imperial examination. Then you can go to the places where our 2 shops are. Read thousands of books, travel thousands of miles, see the mountains and rivers of the Tang Empire, and experience the happiness, anger, sorrow, and joy of the people in different places. When you feel it's enough, go to the capital and take the imperial examination. Don't be lazy." Zhang Zhong warned Zhang Tong. Zhang Tong was stunned and did not know how to reply. He nervously rubbed his hands and said, "Master, I don't want to take off my status. I just want to stay in the Zhang family and be a villager of the Zhang family. You are still a child. If you don't take off your status, how can you take the imperial examination? If you don't take the imperial examination, who will help Xiao Bao and the others in the future? Not only you, but all the villager who can take the imperial examination should take off their status and take the imperial examination. You also have to take the military examination. When the time comes, you will be scattered everywhere and be an official, so that the people of the Tang Empire can benefit. If you lack money, you can get it from the main family. Don't be greedy. If the Zhang family and the Wang family can let those people go, we can also beat them down. Do you remember?" Zhang Zhong's thoughts had already shifted to when his sons grew up. As long as the Zhang family and the Wang family cultivated more outstanding children to be officials, they would have a helper. Zhang Zhong just thought of it. He was so busy with other things that he was muddle-headed. He did not know that his son had this plan long ago. Not only the villager, but also the people in the academy and the people supported by the Zhang family and the Wang family in various places. Some of them were already officials now. They were all cultivated secretly and did not allow corruption or bribery. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan spent more than 20,000 strings of money on this every year. The person with the most money had already sat in the position of the lower province's subclass 5th grade official. After Zhang Zhong entered the capital, there would be several people, at least 2 assistant ministers. There were also people who were specially trained to be in the censorate. These people had to be in the 3 provinces and 6 ministries. These people might not be used even once in their lives and would only be wasting money. However, once they forced Zhang Xiaobao to use them, it would definitely not be a small matter. Only Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, and the people close to them knew about this. Even Zhang Zhong and the other family members did not know about this. While Zhang Zhong was thinking about the future, Zhang Tong's heart was unable to remain calm. He could imagine a day not too far away when the young master and his brothers in the manor would all be officials at the same time, helping each other. As long as they walked the right path and sat upright, they would not have to worry about being framed or pushed aside. The two of them were silent for a while. They looked at the stars and the moon. After a while, Zhang Tong spoke. Master, don't worry. We all know what to do. We think for the people. We are all people who have suffered. Yes. Let's go. There is still a long way to go. Zhang Zhong, who did not know the direction of history, was not like Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who had already started to calculate people and wanted to make the Tang Empire more prosperous. The two of them strolled around for more than 2 hours. In fact, they were just walking in circles around the tent. Fortunately, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had distilled the toilet water according to the mosquito-repellent prescription. Otherwise, they would have been stared at by the insects long ago. There was also cooling oil and essential balm, which were used to ensure a stable sleep in the wild or to help refresh one's mind. After a few rounds, they were finally tired. Zhang Zhong yawned and said, "It's late. Let's all rest. We still have to hurry on tomorrow morning." As soon as he finished speaking, they heard a shout from the west. "Who is it?" "The governor of Shuzhou is here." "Report." "Stop and come down." As the voice came, Zhang Zhong was immediately surrounded by guards. More torches were lit one after another. After a few breaths of time, 3 riders came back from the east. They were all Zhang Zhong's bodyguards. One of the horses had a person tied up on it. There was an arrow stuck in the shoulder of this person. There was another horse behind the 3 horses. It seemed that the tied man was riding it. "Master, we caught a sneaky man. He didn't rest in the middle of the night and rode here. After he was seen, he fled in a hurry. I guess he is going to do something bad to you. Please punish him." Immediately, a guard who had tied the person up flipped over and threw the person to the ground. He said to Zhang Zhong. There was no joy or worry on his face, as if he had done something insignificant. This was what Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had taught him. The responsibility of a guard was to protect, and there was nothing to be happy about in ensuring the safety of others. Zhang Zhong didn't know who the person was. He looked at the person on the ground and waved his hand. "You can interrogate him. Tell me when you have news. I'm going back to lie down for a while." After saying this, Zhang Zhong went back into the tent. Immediately, someone took out the thing in the tied man's mouth. Before they could ask, the man threatened, "Do you know who I am? I am the prince's subordinate. I work for the prince." "Then hurry up and say it." "I'm sleepy. It's time to sleep. Why talk so much nonsense?" "Which prince? Tell me. What is the prince?" The guard didn't care who the man was. The information was the most important. He kicked the man to make him speak quickly. It's Prince Xining. Let me go." The man struggled to get up but couldn't use any strength. You're tuning into the LoveLore Library YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.